Be cool, be kind, be classy. The cupcakes so sweet and sexy. Have fun and enjoy the journey. Just have a good attorney. No big whoop, no biggie. She lives near New York City. And not just a YouTube show. When you know, you better grab a straw. Learn about the law. It's cool here in the shade, sipping motions and lemonade. Cool heads will prevail, kindness will never fail. Be classy and vastly wise. Oh, Melanie Little is going live. Oh no, where is Melanie? Follow the island's melody. There's a concert within reach. No surprise, she's at Jones Beach. She heard some music far away. Captain Jack Stack Harbor Bay. He sings and his piano plays. Not all sounds are waterways. Speaking Yiddish and Latin, it's not just for Manhattan. It's for Goethe and Mishegas. Ridiculous that insanus. Oy vey, Marcus. Proceed, that's for schmucks. Be cool, be kind, be classy. My cupcakes are sweet and sassy. And not just a YouTube show. When you know. Cool heads will prevail. Kindness will never fail. Be classy and vastly wise. Melanie Little is going live.
Happy Sunday! Beware the Ides of March, my friends. Today is Sunday, March 15th, 2026. Beware the Ides of March. How's everyone? Oh, look at this. I'm Nancy. I make your day. You guys are amazing. People said they missed me on the weekends. I love that for us. And here I am. Poor planning on my part, though. Poor planning on my part because I thought the Oscars started 8 p.m. Eastern, but for some dumb reason, they're at 7 p.m. tonight. So I'm going to put up this I'm taping it so that I can fast forward through all the boring parts. And it is really the most self-righteous of all awards shows, but also the best Oscars fashion. So no Oscars spoilers, please. If you're watching me and the Oscars at the same time, I even had to turn off my New York Post alerts because I know they're going to alert me every time someone wins an award. And, after we talk about KARN READ a little bit, we might have to dip our toe into the Oscars fashion. Because what I saw briefly when I went to look at the red carpet was some pretty awesome fashion over there. So I think we should do that. What do you think? There seems to be a lot of confusion about this KARN READ amended complaint. And so many of you asked me about it that I figured I would come on and talk to you about it and tell you what it's about. And everybody's making a really big deal about it. Apparently on social, it's not really a big deal. She's allowed to do it as a matter of right. And I did the work. I put her original complaint next to the amended complaint. I'm going to tell you exactly what's different about it. If anything, what's new, what's been changed. And so thank you. I was on Maz's fundraiser for Kelsey Fitzsimmons. And it was for a really great cause, obviously. And Thursday was the last time we were together, right? And the last time we were together, we covered Kelsey Fitzsimmons' hearing. And it was a good day for Kelsey. We watched Judge Karp strike the part of Judge McCarthy Nyman's order prohibiting Kelsey from any contact with her baby, which doesn't mean she can see her baby right away. But it means that she gets to go to family court and at least fight to see her baby. And then we also saw Judge Karp amend that part of the bail restrictions that forced her to live with her stepmother and father and allowed her to move in like a grown-up to her own townhouse by herself so that she could nest to try and make that transition to being allowed to bring her baby to her new home. Remember, she had to sell her house that Just In It for the Money broke into on camera to pay her attorney's fees. And remember, Just In It for the Money, Elaine wanted Kelsey to have to put all the money from the sale of the house into a fund for him and the future child support that he thinks that he's entitled to. And since that time, since Thursday, it has been announced that Justin Elaine has been suspended from the North Andover Fire Department. And so falls under the category, as I always say, of you better want what you wish for, because Kelsey's not playing anymore. I did say on Maz's, oh yes, I had my roots done. I did. Yes, I did. And I decided to go blonder for the summer. So I often do that. I have seasonal hair. You know, I don't know why. It was too dark last time. I like it blonder, but you know, there's a time, there's a season to everything. There is a season, right? Turn. So Justin's been suspended. I don't really know why. It probably, most likely, in my opinion, has something to do with the videos that came out of Justin smoking something, maybe reefer, maybe. That's what Kelsey said in her affidavit. And what is so interesting is that the Commonwealth seized the security system from Kelsey's house the day of the shooting when Noonan shot her on June 30th of 2025. And so the Commonwealth has been in possession of all of those videos of Justin sneaking outside something like 240 times in, I don't know, they didn't set a time period. But within a couple of months, maybe a couple of weeks of June 30th. And I did see Turtle Boy last night. And listen, he and I agree on a lot of things. We disagree on a lot of things. I have no problem with people smoking weed. It's legal in New York if you have a medical card. And having followed the Grateful Dead around for most of my life, I'm no stranger to the reefer. However, if you want to be a chronic marijuana smoker, don't be a firefighter. It's very simple. Choose one. Be a firefighter or smoke weed every day. And there's a lot of jobs that you can do smoking weed every day, and nobody's going to care. But as a firefighter, safety first and drug testing second. And it's going to be interesting to see if Justin was indeed drug tested. You know, so that's interesting to say the least, right? Karma always knows your address. That's what I say. Karma knows your address. Okay. We've missed a couple of our motivational quotes. So we got to go back to Friday the 13th. And I saw somebody post on somewhere, maybe Instagram, that Friday the 13th, 2020 was the last normal day that many of us had. And many people are saying that we hope that it resets the clock this February 13th, 6 years later. It is hard to believe that it was 6 years ago that the world shut down. And so many things are never going to be the same. I felt that way also after 9/11 in many ways. Remember when you had a paper airplane ticket and you could walk anybody to the gate at the airport and you could meet your friends at the gate or accompany your child to the gate in the airport? No more. Not after 9/11. I feel like so many things are so different after March 13th of 2020. Right? So hard to believe it's been that long. It's been 6 years. 6 years. I feel like we should get those 6 years back somehow. I think we should all subtract 6 years from our age, and we should get to be the age that we were 2020. Does that sound fair to you? All right, here you go. Friday, March 13th, motivational quote was from Thomas Edison. And it says, or Thomas Edison said, many of life's failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success when they gave up. It's so true, isn't it? So true. Many of life's failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success when they gave up. Thomas Edison. Think about how many, and it's funny because the Oscars are tonight, right? And how many actors were like $1 away from $0 and living in their cars when they finally got their big break audition and their whole life had changed, right? You hear that a lot. Actors are an interesting, very generous, very amazing bunch of people, I will say. Some of the nicest people that I've ever met in my career have been on film sets and sets when I was an actor. It's just like the most generous people. These people would give you like the shirt off their back. Wait, is this an Oscar stream? No, but we're going to look at the red carpet fashion after we talk about KARN READ. Not specifically. So I'm just saying, don't spoil it for me because I shut off my alerts and everything so I don't find out who wins. But I taped it. Listen, that show is so damn long. It's starting at 7 p.m. It's going to go 4 hours of self, patting on the back. And, it's the most, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? I like the Golden Globes, and I like, well, not really the Golden Globes, but what was the last one? I like the Golden Globes because it's movies and television, right? I like the SAG Awards because it's actors voting for actors. The Oscars is all about movies, but it does have the best fashion. So I think we kind of got to look at it. So we'll look at that later. All right. As for the quote for Saturday, March 14th, Charles Spurgeon, I have no idea who that is. If you know who Charles Spurgeon is, let me know, said, "Beware of no man more than yourself. We carry our worst enemies within us." That's a good one. That's a good one. Beware of no man more than yourself. We carry our worst enemies within us. There it is. I wouldn't lie to you. How about that? Yeah, bring back Ricky Gervais as host. I know. I'm just not a fan of what the hell is his name? The guy, why is his name escaping me? The guy who's Conan O'Brien. That's who's hosting it tonight. Conan O'Brien. And I wonder if he's going to make a joke. And this would not even be funny at all. But remember what happened at his party? Remember what happened at his holiday party? When he was rude to Nick Reiner? And then Nick Reiner allegedly went berserk and allegedly took the lives of his parents. Rob Reiner and Michelle Reiner. That was at Conan O'Brien's house that happened, right? And there's an argument that could be made, if it's true that Conan O'Brien told everyone they couldn't call 911, that perhaps he could have saved the lives of Rob and Michelle Reiner. But that's my own opinion. That's my own opinion. And what if someone was able to call 911 and then they took Nick Reiner away and he was put on a 72-hour hold or something? I don't think it was him. Maybe it wasn't him that was rude to him, but it was definitely at his house. And it was definitely, he got in a fight with Bill Hader. I think it was Bill Hader who sort of chastised him for interrupting him because he was in the middle of a very important conversation. And I think somebody wanted to call 911. And I think that Conan O'Brien was like, no, you're not calling 911 to my party, right? I don't think he's going to touch it either. But it's kind of interesting because when they do the, in memoriam part of the Oscars tonight, and they put up Rob Reiner and Michelle Reiner. Rob Reiner was a very famous Hollywood producer, director, and all the things. And he's definitely going to be in the memoriam, in the in memoriam segment. And it's going to be kind of awkward that Conan O'Brien's hosting, right? I don't know. I just kind of thought of that. Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming over from Maz's house. I had a lot of fun over there. So I'm so glad. And I hope everyone was able to donate a little bit of money to Kelsey's fund because she really needs it. She really needs it. Yeah, I know. They lecture. That's true. It's true, Aries. They lecture. They bring politics in it all the time. And it's like, I mean, just say thank you and get off. Thank all the people that helped you get here. Okay. You've been struggling for however many years to get here. Thank your agents. Thank your managers who work for little to no money, pretty much. 10% is not a lot. And all the people who stood by you, and your mom who drove you to auditions when you were little, and your elementary school teacher who cast you in the school play. Thank all of those people. It's not your podium to get up there and start, I don't know, or say you like me, you really like me, right? Exactly. That's the shenanigans, right? All right, here we go. And today's quote of the day, motivational quote of the day for Sunday, March 15th, 2026. That's right. It's the eyes of March. Oh, hold on. I gotta switch over to my Ethernet. Hopefully it won't cut me off. Okay. Are we staying? We're here. Okay. Okay. The March 15th motivational quote of the day is Abraham Lincoln. Abe and I have a connection. Look at Gigi, who gifted 10 memberships. Thank you, Gigi. She's got my back. She's got your back. And she gifted 10 memberships because she's amazing. She's amazing. Abraham Lincoln said, to ease another's heartache. All right, I'm going to start again. Back to one. To ease another's heartache is to forget one's own. Oh, well, that's an interesting take. Thank you, Abraham Lincoln. Which is really funny. Has anybody seen the Broadway show, Oh Mary? I think it's called Oh Mary. I saw it with my daughter. It was great. And it's about Abraham Lincoln. And allegedly, he said, to ease another's heartache is to forget one's own. Abraham Lincoln. And in the Broadway take on Abraham Lincoln, which is called Oh Mary, because it's Mary Todd Lincoln's view of Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln is gay. So I don't know if that's true or not. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's a comedy, and it's really good. And so that's interesting if he did say that. If that's true. I don't even know if it's true, but it's a great show. So if you're coming to New York for any reason, go check it out. And it was a lot of fun. All right. Thanks, Mazza, for having me. What was the final count on the donations for Kelsey? And she also has an Amazon wish list. I don't have the link right now, but when I get it, I'll post it. But tonight's show is supposed to be about KARN READ. I just started talking about Kelsey because you guys did a lot of talking about Kelsey. And if you guys didn't watch the Mazza fundraiser, go back later and watch it on replay. Betero was on, the Glare was on, Lauren was on, Britt Happens was on. I don't know, there was like 8 of us at one time. And wait, Mazza, Lauren, Glare, Betero, me, Britt, Baker, right? Because there was 8. And then I think Baker went out and Britt came in. I hope I didn't miss anybody. But there was a lot of talk. It was all about Kelsey and a lot of opinions, and it was really good. It was really good. So, and a lot of information. And it's interesting because whenever I do a Kelsey show, I'm always by myself. And so it's just me and my opinions. And it was so interesting to hear from Betero, who really, doesn't know. Oh, that's right. Lori Mullen. That's right. Lori Mullen. She's a family law attorney from Massachusetts. And I think her Twitter is, tell me what her Twitter name is. Because so many of you, I'm always going to call it Twitter. I don't care. Sorry, not sorry. Mullen Law, maybe? She had some really good takes because she actually is a family law attorney in Massachusetts. So it was great to meet her and to hear from her. So thank you. Thank you very much. Sorry about that. My brain is mush as always. The Dave performance it was on a late night show. I watched it. Dave Matthews was on. And Michelle Pfeiffer was on, and that was a great show, but now I can't remember what show it was on. And he played Don't Drink the Water acoustic, and it was amazing. Thank you, Venus Blue Cupcake. It was Jimmy Fallon. I don't know. I don't even know what the late night shows were on, but are called anymore, or who is even $42,000 for all the fundraisers on Mazza Media. Right, tonight was number 13, lucky 13. So thanks to everyone who donated. Thanks to everyone who came. You're awesome. You're awesome. It's called the Madison, right? That is the new Taylor Sheridan show with Michelle Pfeiffer and Kurt Russell. And it was funny because Michelle Pfeiffer said she wasn't even given a script. And Taylor Sheridan was like, yeah, I have this idea. And he gave her like a basic idea. She was like, okay, great. I'll show me the script and I'll think about it. And she's like, and we went back and forth a number of times. And he's like, yeah, no, that's not what I do. That's not how I work. I lock in the actor first, and then I write the script for that actor. And she said she lost that battle, but she did take the job. And if any of you have seen it, please let me know if you like it. 25 years in the job says, we don't care if you don't like other creators. If you bash one, you'll be taking a break. Yeah. Not creators like Conan O'Brien. I don't care about that. But like other YouTube creators, whether you think I like them or not, to come into another creator's chat and bash the other creator is not nice. Also, I had a little chat with Baker. It was on Stephen Colbert. Thank you. Thanks, Crispy Treat. A little chat with Baker before the Mazza show. And I think that somebody went into his chat the other day when I was covering Kelsey and said, Melanie wants you to send her the link to the show. And I apologized and said, I would never ask someone to do that ever. And I think we need to have like a little refresh of like YouTube courtesy. Please don't do that. Just please don't do that. Because the problem is you're acting like I'm asking you to do that, which I'm clearly not. It could potentially take viewers away from that creator and bring them to another creator. So and the same thing here. Like if you say, oh, so-and-so put up a video about something, or so-and-so is live now, it could take my viewers and bring them somewhere else. And so it's just something that's not nice. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Scott, for the reminder. I know YouTube is not your therapy session. Agreed. I love Baker. I think he's a great guy. and a really nice person. All right. And so that's just, it's just a refresh of like basic courtesy. Okay. Thank you so much. All right. So here's the thing. Let's talk now about KARN READ. KARN READ has amended her complaint in federal court. No, I'm not on Twitter, so I don't know anything about Larry Foreman tweeting about. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, I don't want to talk about this. I'm not going to look it up. I'm not going to bash one or the other. Like, I just don't do that. Thank you, Emily, for your deuce, and I'll take it. But I'm not. That's not what I'm here to talk about. I don't want to talk about it. Okay. And don't try and bait me into it too, because that's what some people do. Thank you, James, for gifting a membership. Thank you so much. I know it's awful to have to apologize on behalf of people you don't know. I know, because I would never do that. If I needed something from Baker, I know how to reach him. I'd be in trouble. I know how to reach him, and I would get it from him directly, and I would never try and pull viewers away from him. I never would. I just don't do that. There's plenty of room for everyone. There's a thing called the replay, which, by the way, if you're on the replay right now, please smash the like button, because that would be nice. And, hype the video if you can, because there's a lot of questions seemingly about this KARN READ amended complaint as it is some nefarious type of pleading, when it is really, you're allowed to amend your complaint as a matter of right in federal court, because we're in federal court now. So let's go back to the beginning. I made some little notes here briefly, because to go back to the beginning of the KARN READ saga would take me 3 hours to talk about it to someone who didn't know anything about it. So there's a couple of things going on here. There's a civil suit, wrongful death lawsuit that was filed in August, I believe, of 2024, before KARN READ's second trial, in between the two trials. And that is the case that is in Plymouth County. And it is the case of Paul O'Keefe, Peggy O'Keefe, John O'Keefe Sr., and Kaylee, the niece, against KARN READ, the Waterfall, and C.F. McCarthy's. That case is pending in Plymouth Superior. And then KARN READ filed a lawsuit against everybody. And when I say everybody, I mean Proctor, Bukhenik, Tully, Brian Albert, Nicole Albert, Jennifer McCabe, Matthew McCabe, and Brian Higgins. That's the KARN READ versus everybody case. That was filed in Bristol County Superior Court. And so these two lawsuits with different defendants, kind of the same issues though, right? Because KARN READ is suing everybody for a violation of her civil rights, saying, listen, I didn't kill John O'Keefe. These other people that I'm suing all conspired together to point the police in my direction. And the investigation was tainted and proctored and doctored, and they wanted to pin it on the girl, and it wasn't me. But because of a faulty investigation, planting evidence, and conspiracy, my civil rights were violated to the tune of millions of dollars in legal fees and other things, emotional injuries, all kinds of things like that. The O'Keefe lawsuit against KARN and the Waterfall is a lawsuit for wrongful death, for the wrongful death of Boston police officer John O'Keefe, alleging that KARN READ hit John O'Keefe with her car while she was drunk and left him to die in the cold. That's the wrongful death against KARN READ. And then it's what they call a dram shop action against the bars, saying that the Waterfall and or C.F. McCarthy's overserved KARN READ, which caused her to be drunk and hit and kill Boston police officer John O'Keefe. But there's a lot of same issues in both of the cases. And in the beginning, KARN READ went into Plymouth Superior and kind of like felt the judge out a little bit about, we want to add all of these other defendants to the case. We want to third party them in. And that judge didn't really seem amenable to it. So KARN READ just wound up filing her own lawsuit in Bristol County, which was the county of her residence in Massachusetts at the time. And so KARN filed her lawsuit in Bristol County November 17th of 2025. At some point thereafter, let me just pull up and she said, okay, I'm suing all of these people, but I also intend to sue, KARN said, I intend to sue the MSP and the town of Canton. But because there are certain procedural things that have to happen before I'm allowed to sue them, I'm just putting you on notice that I intend to sue them too. When you're going to sue a municipality, I'm barred in New York. So here in New York, we call it a notice of claim. You have to file a notice of claim against the town or the county that you want to sue. And they have 90 days to do a hearing. It's called a notice of claim. And then they have a certain amount of time to either settle your case or reject your claim. And then you're allowed to sue them. Okay. So what had happened was the Haas defendants, as I will call them, because that's what Karen calls them in her complaint. And by Haas defendants, I mean all the people that were in the house on the evening of January 28th into January 29th of 2022. You know who they are. But for purposes of today's stream, if you don't, they are Brian Albert, Nicole Albert, Jennifer McCabe, Matt McCabe, and Brian Higgins. They were all in the house. She calls them the House defendants. I call them the Haas defendants because, Haas long to dying cold. So what had happened was, after this lawsuit was filed on November 17th of 2025, the Haas defendants filed a notice of removal to federal court. So they want to take that lawsuit out of state court in Bristol and they want to remove it to federal court. And they have the right to do that. Why would they want to do that? You say, well, no cameras in federal court. That's one reason. But aside from that, I mean, federal court is really strict. It's no joke. You can't be doing the abada when you come into court like Mark Diller. We've seen him do on occasion in state court. And it's really no joke. There's strict timelines and there are rules that you must follow. And there's less room for error and mistakes and, mea culpas in federal court and no cameras. And maybe that's a reason that they wanted to move it to federal court. If you can think of any more other reasons, you can certainly let me know. But they filed right away within a week a notice of removal to federal court. Now, it doesn't mean that they're going to be able to stay in federal court because in the end, it's going to be up to a federal court judge to decide whether the federal court has jurisdiction or not. And if KARN READ is able to implead or bring in the MSP and the town of Canton, they may not have jurisdiction in federal court. So there's some things that still need to be worked out there. So they filed that notice of removal November 25th, and they all have one attorney. And I've said many, many times, I'm shocked that they all have one attorney, this James Tuxbury, because at some point, it is going to become very obvious to James Tuxbury that the Haas defendants may not all have the same interests. Okay. If any information comes out that, let's just say, hypothetically, one of them is responsible for John O'Keefe's death and the other ones didn't know about it or tried to cover it up, their interests are going to be different, right? And so they may all start pointing the fingers and such, but James Tuxbury is going to find himself in some sort of ethical conundrum, in my opinion, if he didn't have them all sign off on a waiver of conflict of interest, because to me, that's just basic conflicts 101. I don't know how he thinks he's going to get around it, but I guess that'll remain to be seen. So the docket is pretty long already. I'll pull up the docket for you so that you can take a look at it. 1 second here. This is PACER because it's federal court, and so you have to be signed up, and you may have to be a lawyer. I don't know. I've just had a PACER account for so long that I don't even know what the requirements are. But in any event, here's the PACER docket so far. Oh wait, let me take this down for a second. I'm just got to share it a different way. Here is the PACER docket for this case, and there's already a lot of filings. I mean, look at how many filings there are already. As you can see, this is the United States District Court for the District of Massachusetts, and then it's got the civil docket number. It's got all of the attorneys who represent all of the parties. And the first thing to happen in federal court was this notice of removal by Brian Albert, Jennifer McCabe, and everybody else. And then we have all the notices of appearance for all of the attorneys for KARN READ. And then we have acknowledgement of service for Yuri Bukhenik. He was served on December 2nd, 2025. His answer was due on December 23rd of 2025. Then there was a notice of appearance for Yuri Bukhenik by Leonard Keston on December 2nd. And there was a notice of appearance for Proctor on December 3rd. Remember, we went over a lot of subpoenas that were served on Proctor that he was not responding to, and he kept asking for an extension of time to answer the subpoenas, and then he had an attorney, and then he lost his attorney, and that was in the other case. Remember, that was in the Plymouth case. And then Proctor, and it's got all the due dates, like Proctor's answer was due on the 24th of December. And then everyone asked for a motion. Well, there was a motion made to extend the time to file an answer by Brian Albert, Nicole Albert, Brian Higgins, Jennifer McCabe, and Matt McCabe. And that was, they wanted a motion of extension of time. They wanted an extension of time to answer the complaint, because remember, they removed this to federal court without having answered the complaint in state court. I know it's confusing, but try and stay with me. But what they did was, the judge allowed it, and this is Judge Casper. Why is Judge Casper familiar? Judge Casper, Judge Denise Casper, was the judge who was assigned to Michael Proctor's phone extraction in the Miles King cases, right? Wasn't she the federal judge that Laura McLaughlin had to keep getting permission to unseal Proctor's phone extraction? Judge Casper, she's been assigned in federal court so far to the case of KARN READ versus everybody. It's interesting, right? So the judge allowed it, and she gave them an extension to file their answer until January 16th of 2026. So Judge Casper is already a little bit familiar with Proctor, right? She gave Tully an extension of time to answer until January 12th, 2026. She gave Proctor an extension of time until January 16th. And as you can see, the House defendants made a motion to dismiss instead of answering. And they're entitled to do that. They made their motion to dismiss January 23rd of 2026. But they all asked for permission. They kept asking for extensions to answer the complaint. And those were granted or consented to by plaintiff's counsel, because that's what plaintiffs and defendants usually can come to an agreement. But instead of filing their answer, they filed a motion to dismiss. And that was filed on January 23rd, 2026. I remember because I was in Mexico at the time. And so I don't even think we ever went over the motion to dismiss. But we still can, and I still have it. And they filed a very long memorandum in support. I think it was something like, I don't remember, 50-something pages, because I watched Peter Tragos go over that motion to dismiss while I was in Mexico. And so KARN READ had time to answer the motion to dismiss. And she kept asking for more time, and she got more time. And there's a big hullabaloo over on the twit-twat and all socials because, oh, how dare KARN READ file an amended answer instead of answering the motion to dismiss? Well, you could say the same thing for the Haas defendants, because they kept asking for more time to answer the complaint. And then instead of serving an answer, they served a motion to dismiss, which is also perfectly permissible under the rules. You can serve a motion in lieu of an answer, and that's what they did. And KARN READ also has the right to amend her complaint once, as a matter of course, because remember, she first filed in state court, and now it's been removed to federal court. And so there may be some things that she needed to add. And or she may have needed to add some things so that she could win the motion to dismiss, or so that the motion to dismiss would be denied, because when a judge decides that motion to dismiss on papers without any discovery having been done, the judge has to look at the complaint and assume that everything in the complaint is true. Assuming that everything in the complaint is true and can be proven, can I dismiss this case on papers? That's what this kind of motion to dismiss is. Okay. So what had happened was on the 13th of March, which was within the time, here's the order granting the motion for extension of time to amend her complaint on March 13th. They knew it was coming. It wasn't a surprise. Okay. She amended her complaint and filed it on Friday, March 13th. Do you see? It wasn't a surprise that she was filing an amended complaint because she asked for permission for an extension of time to amend her complaint. Picking up what I'm laying down? All right, good. I assume you do, because you're a really, really smart bunch. This chat is among the smartest on the internet. And so KARN READ filed an amended complaint, right? How dare she? How dare she? How dare she file an amended complaint? All right. Well, she did. She did it. And I'm going to tell you what's different. Maybe why. We can talk about maybe why she filed an amended complaint after that. But I did the work and figured out how to even share my screen with you to prove it to you, because we like receipts here, don't we? Yes, we do. She followed procedure. Can you imagine following procedure? On the left side of your screen is the original complaint filed by KARN READ November 17th, 2025 in Bristol Superior Court. And on the right side of your screen, filed 3/13/2026, is the federal amended complaint by KARN READ. Anything that I've highlighted in pink on the right side of your screen on the amended complaint is something that has been added, okay? Or something that has been different. Something that is different. Everything that is highlighted in yellow on the left side of your screen is from when I went over this complaint with you all the way back in November of 2025. All the highlights are things that I just thought were important. Okay. It took a long time because this was 54 pages, but I'm here for you. I'm here for you. All right. So right away, what I notice in the amended complaint is that the town of Canton was named as a defendant. The town of Canton was not named in the original complaint. Oh, please. What I'm going to tell you off the bat is there are no allegations in this amended complaint against the town of Canton. So I don't know if that was a mistake. They may have to amend it again to take the town of Canton out of the caption, because that is, there's no allegations against the town of Canton. Okay. Anybody who's read this might have pointed it out to you. Maybe not. I don't really follow what other people do or say. I just give you my own opinion, and you can take it for what it's worth. Because if you ask 5 attorneys for 5 opinions, you're going to get 5 different opinions every single time. Okay. All right. So here we go. This is the original on your left. This is the amended on your right. As you can see here, the first complaint was, I can't read that. It's that stupid new glass thing that they've got on. Okay. 46 pages, I think. And the amended complaint is 54 pages. I mean, you can tell right away that it's a smaller font in federal court. And it's still 54 pages instead of 46. So let's see what is different. All right. First page, second page, everything is still the same. Until we get to paragraph 5. Paragraph 5. I mean, none of these allegations are new. Okay. Paragraph 5 says, and there's just a little tiny bit added at the end of the paragraph. In paragraph 5 reads, the final sentence reads, well, I'll read the final 2 sentences. In the original complaint, indeed, Proctor made his intentions clear in writing. KARN READ had 0 chance of skating. She's effed. This pronouncement was a mere 16 hours after Mr. O'Keefe's body was discovered on the Alberts lawn, and Proctor had not even walked into the house. The amended complaint adds to that sentence, let alone investigated inside the house. Okay, so far, that's the only new thing happening in this complaint. As we move on, and right now the paragraph numbers are the same. Okay, they're going to change because there's going to be some paragraphs added. But paragraph 7 in the original complaint reads, neither Proctor nor any of the MSP troopers conducted physical examinations of the House defendants for evidence of involvement in the altercation, such as marks on their hands, knuckles, or faces, or bruises on their bodies. They did not seize or search the House defendants' phones. The amended complaint adds, except that which belonged to Jennifer McCabe, who turned her phone over only after making settings changes to the phone on February 2nd, 2022. Now, did we know that she made settings changes to her phone? Jennifer McCabe? I don't know. Is this new information since November of 2025? I don't know. But what has happened, well, we'll get to it when we get to it. Since November of 2025, think about all the things that have happened since November. All right. So moving on, we've got paragraph 8. Nine, 10, 11. And I have the witness list for KARN Read's upcoming depositions that she has noticed. And we're going to talk about who she intends to depose first and why, if in order, these witnesses are going to be important. But that's in the other case, in the Plymouth case. Are you with me? Okay. These talks about Proctor's text messages. Hopefully she kills herself, the no nudes so far. And again, there's nothing new has been added to the complaint about Proctor's text messages, anything like that, till we get to jurisdiction. And jurisdiction is what gives you the right to be in federal court or what gives you the right to be in a certain county. So this is, here's what's interesting. So parties, Roman 2, parties right here where we started paragraph 17, they talk about all the parties. And in state court, you have to say why you have jurisdiction in that county. And the reason she could be in Bristol County is because Karen lived in North Dighton, Massachusetts, which is Bristol County at the time of the filing, right? And so that's why. But when you look at the parties in the federal complaint, they talk about Proctor, Bukhenik, Tully, Brian Albert, Nicole Albert, Jennifer McCabe, Matt McCabe, Higgins. They don't add the town of Canton in here. That's why I think it must have been a mistake that they put the town of Canton in the caption, because it's not part of the amended complaint. Moving on to Roman 3, which is jurisdiction. They had to change it from the state court venue basis to the federal court jurisdiction, and they changed the complaint to read, this court has subject matter jurisdiction over this case pursuant to 28 U.S.C. 1331 and 1367. Those are federal statutes instead of state statutes. This case was removed to the court by certain defendants pursuant to 28 U.S.C. 1441. Okay. Is the chat frozen? I think the chat is frozen. All right, moving on. Facts common to all counts. There's nothing new here until we get to paragraph 30. Which in the first complaint was paragraph 31, because some of the venue allegations I think were taken out. So now the numbering is changing a little bit. Okay. So the original complaint read, they're talking about the group of people in the house defendants. The group had overlapping social relationships. At the time, Brian Albert was a police officer, as was Mr. O'Keefe, though they did not know each other well. Brian Albert and Brian Higgins were close friends. After that sentence, added in the amended complaint is Higgins resided in Canton for many years through January of 2022. And both complaints say he was an officer with the ATF. So he moved out of Canton in January of 2022. Interesting, right? He also was permitted to keep an office at the Canton PD alongside Brian Albert's brother, Canton Police Officer Kevin Albert. Kevin Albert had a professional and social relationship with Michael Proctor. That was the original complaint. The amended complaint adds to that sentence, as well as with Brian Higgins. Higgins had been on a trip with both Brian and Kevin Albert in the days preceding January 29th of 2022. I'm assuming that was the funeral for the New York City, the NYPD officer. They went to the funeral, right? In New York. And I think that's the trip that they're talking about. The next addition in the amended complaint is what was paragraph 34 and is now paragraph 32. And it's adding some information about John O'Keefe's Apple Health data. Paragraph 34 in the original complaint, now paragraph 32 in the amended complaint reads, Ms. Reed and Mr. O'Keefe had never been to the house before January 29th of 2022. They arrived in front of the Alberts home at around 12:20 a.m. Ms. Reed was reluctant. Wait, hold on. Did I just move this? Hold, please. Hold, please. Here it is. Paragraph 33 in the original complaint, paragraph 32 in the amended complaint. Sorry if I confused you. Ms. Reed and Mr. O'Keefe had never been to the house before January 29th of 2022. They arrived in front of the Alberts house around 12:20 a.m. Ms. Reed was reluctant to attend the party for several reasons, including she was unsure whether they were at the correct location and whether they were even welcome to the late night party. Mr. O'Keefe got out of Ms. Reed's SUV and indicated that he would go check out the party and report back to her. Mr. O'Keefe walked toward the front door / garage area of the house and entered one of the two doors. Added to the amended complaint is this following sentence. According to O'Keefe's Apple Health data, his final steps covered just enough distance to get from the foot of the driveway and into the house or garage. Why is that important? Because under a motion to dismiss, the judge needs to take every single allegation in the complaint as true. Because no discovery's been done yet. And them's the rules. And it solidifies her alleging that he went into the house because there's data. It goes on to say a period of time passed without any word from Mr. O'Keefe. Ms. Reed, who was still hesitant to join, presumed that Mr. O'Keefe intended to stay, and therefore she left to go home without him. Moving on, this is page 10, and the next edition is on page 11. So you can see there's not that much different here, right? This was paragraph 38 on the original complaint. It is now paragraph 37 on the amended complaint. It reads as follows. After the physical altercation, Higgins left the house and drove to the Canton Police Department in the middle of the night. He later told investigators he had to do some administrative work, in air quotes, but then changed his story, subsequently stating that he drove to the station because he had to move cars in the parking lot due to the snowstorm. And then this part is added in the new complaint, comma, even though he could have done that earlier in the evening when he was at the station to drop off Kevin Albert. Well, somehow, because I don't remember this part of it, I don't remember Higgins dropping off Kevin Albert at Canton PD. Do you? Is that new information? And if it is, how did they get it? Well, here's one way they could have gotten it. Proctor's phone extraction of 13 years has just been released to KARN Read's team and the O'Keefe team. And that was released by Judge Gilday. Judge Gilday ordered that in January. It's new info, right? It's new. We didn't know it, but Proctor's phone extraction is telling us everything. Right? Just enough, maybe, for this amended complaint to survive a motion to dismiss on the papers by the Haas defendants. Did it come from Proctor's phone? I don't know. Maybe. Moving on. Next new information does not appear until the heading that says Ms. Reed searches for Mr. O'Keefe. What was paragraph 40 is in the new complaint, paragraph 39. Ms. Reed began the search for Mr. O'Keefe on January 29th, just before 5 a.m., when she awoke and realized he had not returned home. She phoned Haas defendant Jennifer McCabe, who already knew exactly what had happened to Mr. O'Keefe. Ms. McCabe insisted that Ms. Reed drive to McCabe's house rather than to 34 Fairview Road, which Ms. Reed did. New sentence added to the amended complaint. At the exact same minute Ms. Reed left Mr. O'Keefe's home, 5:07 a.m., McCabe made a 38-second phone call to her sister, Nicole Albert, at 34 Fairview. Nicole Albert said she was asleep until after 6 a.m., and Jennifer McCabe, when confronted with the call artifact at trial, claimed not to have any knowledge of the call. Well, they did have that information when they filed this complaint, but does it make these allegations stronger on the papers? Yeah, it does. Then they add Ms. Reed and Ms. McCabe. Ms. Reed and Ms. McCabe, where's this? Were then joined by Kerry Roberts, and the three of them left the McCabe residence. However, and there's nothing else new in this paragraph, but I'll read it to you anyway, just for fun. However, rather than go to 34 Fairview, oddly, McCabe directed them to go back to Mr. O'Keefe's home, where Ms. Reed had just come from, after the three of them finally drove to 34 Fairview. The illogical McCabe-directed route to 34 Fairview was intentional. It allowed the Haas defendants more time to finish creating the scene and hiding evidence before Mr. O'Keefe's body was discovered on the Alberts lawn and first responders arrived. I have often thought, why didn't they just call Kaylee? Kaylee was at the house. In fact, the O'Keefes are blaming Karen for leaving Kaylee alone and going out to look for John. So why not just call Kaylee instead of going back there? But it wasn't me. All right, moving on. No more changes until we get to paragraph 47. Which was 48 on the original complaint. It is now paragraph 47 in the amended complaint. After Sergeant Lank returned to the Canton PD 3 hours after the discovery of Mr. O'Keefe's body and more than 2 hours after being interviewed at the Alberts home that morning, Jennifer McCabe called Sergeant Lank to report that she recalled, air quotes, recalled additional information. This sentence is new. Except for this one call to Sergeant Lank, McCabe deleted from her phone evidence of all other phone calls she made and received from January 28th to just before 9 a.m. on January 29th. Just that one sentence was changed. As part of the plan to implicate Ms. Reed and remove suspicion from the Haas defendants, she falsely told Sergeant Lank that Ms. Reed told her twice that morning, "I hope I didn't hit him." More than a year later, at a separate proceeding, McCabe changed her story on this topic yet again. In furtherance of the Haas defendants' plan, McCabe then falsely reported that Ms. Reed outright confessed to hitting Mr. O'Keefe right after she first found him in the snow. The only thing that was added is that one sentence that I highlighted in pink for you. Except for this one call to Lank, McCabe deleted from her phone evidence of all other phone calls she made and received from January 28th to just before January 9th, I'm sorry, to just before 9 a.m. on January 29th. KARN READ's going to argue consciousness of guilt on behalf of Jen McCabe. And it's going to be up to a jury to decide whether or not that is indicative of it. Next change comes at paragraph 49 on the new, which is paragraph 50 on the old. I will read the paragraph. There was only one short portion of a sentence that is new. From the beginning, Proctor should never have been assigned as an investigating officer, let alone the lead investigator. He grew up and resides in Canton, is a good friend of the Alberts, and had known the family for years. Proctor and Julie Albert, Brian Albert's sister-in-law, had each other's personal cell phone numbers. In fact, just days before Mr. O'Keefe's death, Proctor communicated with Julie Albert about babysitting Proctor's minor child. Proctor's sister Courtney was also a close friend of Julie. And then this is the only portion added to this sentence. And lived within walking distance to the Alberts' home at 34 Fairview Road. Why is that important? I don't know. Proctor's sister Courtney was also a close friend of Julie Albert and lived within walking distance to the Alberts' home at 34 Fairview Road. So Courtney lived within walking distance to the Alberts' home at 34 Fairview Road. I don't know, use your context clues and special powers, chat. Why do you think that's important to add? I didn't know that. That's new information to me. But why would it be important to have in this complaint? Yeah, it was some venue paragraphs that were deleted because, or jurisdictional paragraphs, because this is federal court and that was state court. No, I did. I did a complete markup on this. Brennan's deviated septum. The yellow on the left is from when I went over with you guys, the original complaint. Those were the things I thought were important. And then I did a side-by-side comparison, and everything highlighted in pink on the right is new information in the new amended complaint, because everyone was making such a big deal about it. I wanted to show you that there's not that much stuff added here at all or amended, because they can walk and not be on the phone, says McAlbert's warden. That's funny. They can meet up easily, says the LA Ferry. You guys still have the best usernames on the internet. Cubert, I was so good at the game. Cubert says, I still think there's a possibility that John staggered out of the house by himself where he collapsed in the spot that he was found. Anyone? All I know is he wasn't hit by a car. That could be possible, right? But then why the house long to die in the cold? I mean, he would have had to have stumbled out of the house. I don't think that can track. You know why, Cubert? Because if he wasn't seen by Lucky at whatever time, last time that Lucky went by, and the time of death was closer in time to before 1 a.m., and the blow to his head would have resulted in almost instant death, right? That injury would not have let him walk, right? And there was no hypothermia, right? There was no hypothermia. There was no frostbite. He was immediately incapacitated because of the blow to the head. That is right. Okay. You're very good students. All right, moving on to the next edition, which is under the heading Proctor, Bukhenik, and Tully engage in a corrupt and biased investigation. Wait, hold please. Well, some of the things here have been deleted. Some of these paragraphs were deleted. Hold on. Unless they picked him up and put him somewhere else. Beginning. So some of these paragraphs on the left, I'm just noticing this now as I'm going through this. Proctor leads the MSP investigation despite conflicts, right? We've got this Michael Proctor paragraph. from the beginning paragraph where they just added that one portion about lived walking distance to the home at 34 Fairview Road. In fact, Proctor's own mother referred to the Alberts as the Proctor's second family. The existence of these relationships was intentionally suppressed by Proctor and other members of the MSP. Including Bukhenik and Tully, in an effort to ensure that the House defendants were protected and that Ms. Reed's right to a fair investigation and trial were undermined. Oh, maybe not. Yeah, that's up there. Okay, never mind. The next heading is Proctor, Bukhenik, and Tully engage in a corrupt and biased investigation by not investigating inside the House and interviewing House defendants as friends rather than suspects. Oh, happy birthday, LawTube lover. Happy birthday to you. Proctor, Bukhenik, Tully, and the MSP never searched for DNA evidence inside the house, never looked for ridge surfaces that could have caused the gash on the back of Mr. O'Keefe's head, never inspected the House defendants' bodies for indication of bruises or cuts that resulted from an altercation, and did not search the House defendants' cell phones that on the new complaint it is added, with the exception of Jennifer McCabe. This allowed potential evidence to be destroyed, disposed of, removed, or simply become unrecoverable. The next edition comes when they are talking about all right, let's see. Took full advantage of it. The defendants took a full advantage of it. Specifically, Jennifer McCabe became the point person for the House defendants in providing false narrative to investigators and continued to serve that role for years. So this is new. Oh, I see what they did. I see what they did. Okay. So they added this, continued to serve that role for years. Then they made this a new paragraph. She managed and communicated over here. She managed and communicated details about the House defendants' messaging and the investigation itself, including Proctor's and others investigators' private residences, mapping out timelines to coordinate statements with other witnesses, leading group text message chains that were later partially deleted, and planning private meetings at all hours of the day and night. Indeed, these were never the acts of innocent witnesses seeking to help an investigation concerning the death of an alleged friend. Rather, they were predicate acts of a conspiracy among a group of people with a shared goal of deflecting their criminal exposure onto someone else. And here's an added paragraph on the right, the amended complaint, paragraph 54. All of this is new. There's about 4 to 5 new paragraphs. Let's read them, shall we? McCabe, and this is all new. McCabe was wildly active on her phone in the immediate aftermath of the house altercation that killed Mr. O'Keefe. Her cellular data reveals that she arrived back at her home on 12 Country Lane at 2:12:38 a.m. on January 29th. Her phone was unlocked between 2:23:41 a.m. and 2:31:07 a.m. Text messages were sent between 2:25:11 a.m. and 2:25:26 a.m. 2 screenshots were deleted at 2:26:37 a.m. Her Apple Health recorded steps throughout the night after she arrived home at 2:14:03 a.m., 2:15:33 a.m., 2:16:34 a.m., 2:17:38 a.m., 2:18:32 a.m., 2:19:23 a.m., 2:21:10 a.m., 2:22:22 a.m. Wow. 2:23:20 a.m., 2:31:44 a.m., 2:33:07 a.m., 2:31:44 a.m., 2:33:07. And then there's a gap. 2:33:07, those are my words, the gap. 2:33:07, the next steps were not recorded until 3:51:37 a.m. and 3:51:45 a.m. It's a lot of walking around. It's a lot of steps. It's a lot of steps. 18 calls were deleted between 5:33:47 a.m. and 8:50:15 a.m. 18 calls between 5:30 and 8:50 a.m. That's a lot of calls. Somebody said she did some pacing. Yep, maybe. An outgoing call to Nicole Albert at 5:07:21 a.m. The last cellular artifact is particularly revealing because McCabe's call to her sister occurred 1 hour before John O'Keefe's body was found. I'll read that in a second. Free St. Turtle Boy says, I never deleted it. Quote, I never deleted anything off my phone. I wouldn't even know how. I deleted the text from my daughters after I got permission. Also, Jim McCabe. McCabe's call to her sister occurred 1 hour before John O'Keefe's body was discovered, mere moments after a 43-second call at 5:05:14 a.m., during which Reed and McCabe agreed to go searching for O'Keefe. And then in parentheses, it says, ring video from One Meadows shows Karen leaving the property at exactly 5:07 a.m. This is also new. McCabe's coordination continued on February 1st, 2022, when she worked with another witness, Kerry Roberts, to draft a timeline in order to align their stories regarding what had occurred on January 29th. They did this in preparation for Roberts' interview with MSP, which occurred at the McCabe's residence, despite MSP's protocol to separate witnesses when interviewed. So this has changed a little bit to make it more specific to what Jen McCabe did specifically with Kerry Roberts, the specific movement in her phone, the specific how many calls were deleted, how many steps she took, and exactly what times. 56 is also new. While MSP interviewed Roberts, McCabe simultaneously texted her husband, Matthew McCabe, Nicole Albert, and Brian Albert, saying she's telling them everything. Quote, all the stuff. Nicole Albert responded, good, and call us after. This is also new. 2 months later, after being prodded and influenced by McCabe and the other House defendants, Roberts changed part of her story to better fit with Jennifer McCabe's own false statements. Specifically, Roberts testified falsely in a state grand jury proceeding on April 26th of 2022 that she heard Ms. Reed ask McCabe to Google hypothermia. She had not made this claim in any of the at least 3 interviews she gave to MSP investigators in the days after Mr. O'Keefe's death, in part because it never happened. This is also new. Kerry's new and false story to the state grand jury aligned exactly with McCabe's testimony that Ms. Reed asked her to Google hypothermia. Roberts even adopted McCabe's false claim that Ms. Reed had supposedly asked the question while praying in a Canton PD cruiser outside of 34 Fairview Road. Right. Remember that? We were holding hands and saying the Our Father. That was in one of Jen McCabe's statements. And then Kerry Roberts adopted it apparently in her grand jury testimony. This is also new. Later, Roberts conceded that she had never heard Ms. Reed ask Ms. McCabe to Google anything. She admitted this a year later at a separate proceeding on April 19th of 2023, conducted by different law enforcement authority, not Proctor and MSP, right? It's the FBI. And again, during Reed's criminal retrial, or the federal grand jury. And again, during Reed's criminal retrial in 2025. 60. The House defendants deleted many of their texts among themselves and others in the aftermath of Mr. O'Keefe's death. That is all new. All that stuff. And remember, Kerry Roberts is not a defendant here. She's not a defendant, but she did testify to all of that stuff under oath, and it can easily be proven. So there's that. And so much of this, everything that is not highlighted in pink remains the same as alleged in the original complaint. Exactly. Moving on. This is now, see now the numbering is totally different. Importantly. Okay, so the paragraph starting with importantly, which starts right here. It's number 62 on the new complaint, 56 on the old. And obtaining let's see. This is just added. Obtaining some of the House defendants' phones. Because the original complaint said that investigation by the FBI, the feds, resulted in obtaining the House defendants' phones. They've changed it to obtaining some of the House defendants' phones. So they didn't get everybody's phones. They just got some of them. So what phones did the FBI not get? Well, a lot of messages came out of some group messages, right? Between Jen McCabe. The House defendants in this action are Brian Albert, Nicole Albert, Jen McCabe, Matt McCabe, and Higgins. I guess we don't really know what investigation, what the feds have, whose phones they have. Right? Could be a surprise. Some of the phones were deleted and destroyed at military bases and ponds, but I mean, the feds can still get everything from the cloud, right? So it'll be interesting to see if any new information comes out from phones that we didn't even know that they had. Things that Celebrite missed. Yep. Moving on. There's a whole lot of new stuff here and a new paragraph. Okay, so the original paragraph 57 reads, Proctor and Bukhenik initially interviewed the McCabes and Brian Albert on January 29th at the McCabe's home at 12 Country Lane in Canton, at which time they again falsely stated that Mr. O'Keefe never entered the Alberts' home. This is all new. Everything in pink on the right-hand side. However, Jennifer McCabe's cell phone location data shows that she was at 34 Fairview all morning, leaving at 11:15 a.m., just in time to meet Proctor at 12 Country Lane at 11:30 a.m. This is also new. According to Proctor, he was at Canton PD just a mile from 34 Fairview before proceeding to the McCabe's home for their scheduled interview. At that point, Proctor had still not inspected 34 Fairview and had not interviewed either the McCabes or the Alberts. He could have done both simply by driving a mile to 34 Fairview, where both the McCabes and the Alberts were minutes earlier, rather than drive across town minutes later in a snowstorm. He did this intentionally to avoid 34 Fairview, where he would have been required to inspect the house and property and make reasonable observations. And make reportable observations. He also wanted to make the McCabes and Alberts more comfortable for their interviews. Then it continues on. And this was in the old complaint. Bukhenik and Proctor did not interview Nicole Albert and Brian Higgins until February 3rd of 2022, and did not interview Chris and Julie Albert until February 10th, nearly 2 weeks after Mr. O'Keefe's death, and more than a week after Ms. Reed was arrested and charged. And then they also, this is the added in portion, and did not interview Caitlin Albert and Brian Albert Jr. until September 15th, 2023, nearly 2 years later. Now, I would submit to you that all of this was known before the original complaint was filed, which was in November of 2025, but it wasn't as specific. And so If you think you can prove things in court, it doesn't hurt when there's a motion to dismiss pending to amend your complaint to add stuff that is rock solid that you know you can prove. Let's go to the chat for a moment. Thoughts? News to myself says, do you think Justin's suspension from the fire department could provide more justification to renew the Rule 17 motion for his employment records? Maybe. But I think also that the judge sort of was like, well, like his pot smoking is not my problem, and it's not, probably wouldn't be relevant in this proceeding anyway. But maybe. I mean, we're getting close to trial. The trial's a week from tomorrow. Also, tomorrow there's what I saw on the docket is an 11:30 conference on Kelsey's case. Another pretrial. I think it was going to be about jury instructions. So if there's a feed for it, I'll cover it live tomorrow at 11:30. So remember to come back. This is all going to be a lot more relevant, Justin's behavior in the custody and family court case than perhaps in Kelsey's case. And so I don't know that they want to get into renewing all of these motions right now, because Bradel did point out, I don't know why the Commonwealth would even want to call Justin Elaine. It's like opening a can of worms. And the judge says, yeah, I don't even know why you'd want to call him either, because that opens up a whole can of worms. I think with this criminal trial for Kelsey, they need to keep it simple. The issue is, did she pull out her weapon and point it at Noonan? Like, the more mud that is thrown into that trial, the harder it's going to be, unless there's a bench trial instead of a jury trial. We talked all about that in the Mazza stream, so go back and watch that later. It was a fundraiser on Mazza Media that we did tonight. We talked a lot about that stuff. Redondo Beach, have you heard about the book, The Tell controversy? No, I have not. Thanks for being with me for 6 months. Strange Credulity says, I sent you an email with a screenshot from your show that shows Kelsey, Audrey, my friend Aisha, and me in court when she found out she could move out. Oh, that's lovely. Thank you so much. I'll take a look for that later. Thanks for your 5. And Nicole says, I watched the first 3 episodes of Madison. Stacy was created after Miss Melanie. That's hilarious. I couldn't get over how much she reminds me of you. XOXO. I'll allow it. Listen, anybody who thinks I look like Michelle Pfeiffer, I will allow that anytime. Thanks, James, for gifting a membership. You're amazing. James Lynch is here. He's a gifter. All right, moving on. Paragraph 66 in the new, which would be paragraph Proctor, Bukhenik, and Tully likewise failed. Let's see. All right, Proctor Bukhenik, this is Proctor Bukhenik and Tully likewise failed to conduct a meaningful investigation into Higgins' involvement. When Proctor and Bukhenik interviewed Higgins on February 3rd, they added in the new complaint at Higgins' attorney's home in Sharon, Massachusetts. Interesting point is that it was pointed out by some very sharp sleuths out there that Higgins' attorney married to a sitting judge. It was also done not only at Higgins' attorney's house, but the house of a sitting judge. Oh, please. In Sharon, Massachusetts. Moving on, rather than pursuing Higgins as a possible suspect, Proctor, Bukhenik, and Tully refused to investigate the matter further. They never interviewed Higgins again, even after a surveillance video revealed Higgins was suspiciously hiding his face in the halls and in the parking lot of Canton PD at 1:30 a.m. on January 29th. The video contradicts Higgins' statements about his actions that night. However, Not only did Proctor, Bukhenik, Tully, and the MSP not investigate what Higgins was doing or what was in the bag, and then they just added he was carrying in the video. That's new. But they went so far as to hide this video from Ms. Reed and her criminal defense attorneys for years. Yes. None of that Canton PD interior footage and exterior parking lot footage was turned over to KARN Read's team until long after trial number 1. Maybe in the middle of trial number 2. I don't exactly remember right now, but I do remember Judge Cannone not having an evidentiary hearing and then deciding on her own, sua sponte, that Michael Proctor hid all that video in a drawer somewhere. You remember? I do. Ms. Reed's defense did not receive these videos until after she stood trial for the first time. Oh, I could have just kept reading. And even after the separate law enforcement agency's investigation revealed late night phone calls between Brian Albert and Brian Higgins, MSP failed to pursue either witness further or seek a full forensic extraction of Higgins' phone or even a simple call log from his cellular provider. Then this part is new. This concerted inaction by MSP, Proctor, Bukhenik, and Tully directly benefited the House defendants, especially Higgins and Brian Albert, who proceeded to dispose of and destroy their phones, just as the criminal court ordered them preserved in response to a motion by Reed's criminal defense team. It's showing more conspiracy. It's showing more overt acts, which is needed in civil conspiracy. This is also new. Specifically on September 15th, 2022, Ms. Reed's defense attorneys filed a motion requesting that the court order Brian Albert and Higgins to preserve the contents of their phones. A Superior Court judge held a hearing on that motion on September 22nd and announced in open court that the defendants were required to preserve their phones, signing a preservation letter to that effect on September 23. Higgins was served with a copy of the court's order on September 30th. He later testified that he changed phones and mobile carriers on September 29th. Later, in October of 2022, Higgins then destroyed his old phone, which was subject to the court's preservation letter. In fact, Higgins went so far as to drive to a military base on Cape Cod, remove the SIM card from the phone, cut the SIM card with scissors he brought with him, and destroy and dispose of the phone and card in 2 separate dumpsters before driving back home. Another new paragraph. Brian Albert received a copy of the preservation letter sometime between September 23 and 24. He originally testified that he threw away his phone in the, quote, 3rd week of September 2022, but then later claimed that he did so on September 22nd, 1 day before being notified of the court's order. And the same day, Ms. Reed's defense attorneys argued in open court that the phone should be preserved. Oh, you guys didn't get notifications? I don't know. You gotta get them. You gotta have them set. I don't know why. You got to have them set. This one I set hours ago. Sometimes I do it last minute, and in that case, you would not get them. But you have to make sure they're enabled on your phone and all that stuff. Make sure you're still subscribed. I know it stinks. YouTube has been wonky lately in a lot of ways. Moving on. And so that just had a little more detail than the original complaint, dates, times, and things such as that. Moving on. Okay. There is one sentence added to new paragraph 77, which read originally, Haas defendants did not want to text about their activities and communications because they tried to hide and or lie about them. For instance, it was discovered in the second criminal trial that Jennifer McCabe had lied in her sworn testimony in the first trial about not visiting 34 Fairview with Carrie Roberts on January 30th on their way to Sergeant Lank's house. However, while they did not text about this meeting, McCabe's cell phone location data obtained later by Ms. Reed's defense reveals that she did in fact visit 34 Fairview just 1 day after O'Keefe's death and lied about it. That was also in the original complaint. The new addition is this sentence. Again, this cellular evidence and the deception by McCabe was never investigated further by the MSP, despite the fact that they had McCabe's full phone extraction since February of 2022. I think you are supposed to be notified every single time. Hold on, I lost my cursor. Hello? Where's my cursor? I don't know. Did my pad just die? Hold on. I might have to plug in my trackpad. Oh, please. You shouldn't have to hit it for every show. If you have notifications enabled, all notifications enabled, and you have them enabled also on your phone, you should be able to get them for every single live stream. So if you're not, I don't know why that would be. There we go. All right, better. And then this additional, well, there's 2 paragraphs here that are new. Paragraph new 79. For example, okay, so the paragraph before that is still the same. It says, the McCabe's, Alberts, and Higgins all told the same false story to investigators in their interviews, and Proctor, Bukhenik, and Tully accepted their coordinated statements without making efforts to corroborate their stories. This is new. For example, Higgins testified before the state grand jury on April 28th, 2022, that he parked his Jeep Wrangler in front of 34 Fairview Road for the duration of his stay on January 29th of 2022. However, none of the other House defendants or the percipient witnesses who parked briefly out front around 12:30 a.m., Brian Nagel, Heather Maxson, and Ricky D'Antuono, ever testified about seeing any other vehicle parked there other than Miss Reed's Lexus. Matthew McCabe claims to have seen V-shaped tire tracks in the snow, another observation not corroborated by any other witnesses. Further, Brian and Nicole Albert initially told Sergeant Lank of Canton PD that their daughter, Caitlin Albert, left the house that night around 12:15 a.m. when she was picked up by her boyfriend. However, when Caitlin Albert and Brian Albert Jr. were interviewed in August of 2023, they both testified that Caitlin was the last person to leave 34 Fairview that night at approximately 1:45 a.m. Brian and Nicole Albert clearly made efforts to exclude placing their eldest daughter in the house when Mr. O'Keefe was there. Neither Proctor, Bukhenik, Tully, Lank, MSP, or CPD ever further investigated this 90-minute discrepancy regarding the presence of a key witness to an alleged murder. The next section is entitled, Rather than investigate their friends and brethren, Proctor, Bukhenik, Tully, and MSP coordinate with the House defendants to target KARN READ. There's nothing new added in that section. The next section is Proctor and Bukhenik plant certain evidence and make false statements in court and other legal documents to frame KARN READ. And we have some new information in the new complaint. Okay. And this is when KARN READ's car was towed from Dighton to the Sallyport. The new complaint reads as follows. Before the vehicle arrived in the garage, Ms. Reed's Lexus taillight had a minor crack but was intact, an observation ultimately testified to by Dighton officer Nicholas Barrows, who was never interviewed by Proctor or any member of MSP. The crack occurred when Ms. Reed backed into Mr. O'Keefe's car at 5 a.m. that morning as she was leaving to search for him. That incident was captured on video. Another new portion says, for nearly 2 years, however, Proctor memorialized the event as Ms. Reed's Lexus coming close but not hitting Mr. O'Keefe's Chevy Traverse. Proctor ultimately changed that narrative to admit the vehicles did come in contact with each other. Again, just more specificity, but we knew all of that stuff before because that's how Proctor testified, remember? And he only testified at trial number 1. The next edition reads, in the original complaint, they're talking about Sally Port garage video being missing. First, a critical 42-minute portion was deleted from the footage from the Sally Port front wall camera, the portion from 5:08:02 p.m. to 5:50 p.m., which included the exact time Ms. Reed's Lexus arrived in the garage, and then they add, and the period Proctor was at the passenger side taillight. Moving on. An added paragraph here when they're talking about Proctor depositing the taillight pieces on John O'Keefe's clothing, retrieving his clothing from the floor of the hospital. Instead of securing the clothes in a sealed container or bag as protocol requires, Proctor and Bukhenik drove them around in his car all day and then placed them in Norfolk County District Attorney's Office for at least 6 days, where they were accessible to Proctor, Bukhenik, and many MSP troopers. They added a new paragraph in the new complaint, which reads, in his trial testimony, Bukhenik asserted that both he and Proctor were at Norfolk District Attorney's Office drying out O'Keefe's clothing on butcher paper well into the evening, at least until 8:30 p.m. on January 29th, 2022. But in front of the MSP trial board in March of 2025, remember Proctor's bid to get his job back, and he had that hearing? He only had one hearing because then he withdrew his appeal in front of the Post Commission after his 13-year phone extraction came out. But in that hearing, in March of 2025, Proctor testified that he arrived back home at 7 p.m. that night. Furthermore, Proctor stated that he went from a debrief at Canton PD straight home and never mentioned visiting the Norfolk District Attorney's Office with Bukhenik and handling key items of evidence, despite Bukhenik's claims that Proctor was handling the clothing that night. On these matters, Bukhenik and Proctor's sworn statements significantly differ and cannot both be true. Oop, there it is. Proctor's testimony in that post-commission hearing will be held against him. It is sworn testimony under oath. It's a problem for him. Remember, there were 3 more hearings that were scheduled. Wait, in March of 2025, that was the MSP trial board. Okay, that is different than the hearings that were held in front of the post-commission. The post-commission hearings started in, according to my notes, August of 2025. There was one hearing and there was only one witness, and it was not Proctor. But then there were supposed to be 3 more hearings in October 21, 22, and 23. And what had happened was right before those hearings happened, that is when the total phone extraction of Proctor was revealed, the 13 years of data that was turned over to his union attorney that resulted in not only Sean Good's suspension from Canton PD, but also Michael Proctor's union attorney dropping him like a bad habit and having him on a Saturday withdraw his appeal to the post commission. Oop. But here they're pointing out the discrepancies between Bukhenik's testimony and Proctor's testimony, and both things cannot be true. Good get. That was a good addition. Moving on to other aspects of the conflicted and corrupt investigation. They added one sentence that says, Mr. Loughran saw a Ford Edge in front of the Alberts home that had not been there an hour before. And then it said, they just added, despite a town-wide ban on street parking during the storm. Remember, Lucky testified he didn't want to call it in because he didn't want to get the Alberts in trouble because he knew the Alberts since he was a kid. And here is another new paragraph after paragraph 94 in the original complaint, which is paragraph 110. in the new complaint, talking about how, I'll read the complaint that is the same in both first. The paragraph. Proctor's interactions with Kevin Albert, Brian Albert's brother, during the investigation also demonstrate his close relationships with the Albert family, as well as his propensity for violating MSP rules and Massachusetts criminal laws. Repeatedly, Proctor used his personal cell phone to speak with Kevin, the Canton PD officer, instead of official channels when he coordinated interviews of witnesses, even though Canton PD was recused from the investigation. New paragraph 111 in the new complaint. On January 30th, 2022, Kevin Albert texted Proctor on Proctor's personal cell. Okay. I think perhaps this was found in the new 13-year cell phone extraction. They're telling us everything, but not telling us everything just enough to put into the new amended complaint. Perhaps to have it survive a motion to dismiss on the papers, but not telling us everything they found in Proctor's phone investigation or Proctor's 13-year extraction, because what fun would that be? Got to save some of the surprises for depositions. And here it is. On January 30th of 2022, Kevin Albert texted Proctor on Proctor's personal cell to coordinate Proctor's use of Canton PD facilities to interview witnesses and about what witnesses Proctor planned to interview and when. Tellingly, despite the fact that he was investigating the murder of a law enforcement officer and the MSP, and that MSP rules and regulations require recorded witness and suspect interviews when possible, Proctor never used the recorded interview room at Canton PD and instead chose to keep the interviews offline. Well, it's interesting. It makes me wonder, what else did Proctor and Kevin Albert text about? Not just that, but that's all they're telling us right now. No, we're not going to be able to watch any depositions, Crispy Treat. What you talking about, girl? No, we're not going to be able to watch the depositions. No, those are not televised. That is all. Please don't spread misinformation in the chat. I love you, but we will not see any depositions ever, in my opinion. Depositions are not public. They will probably be videotaped, but they will not be released to the public unless they somehow leak, but it's not something we're going to be able to see. Civil discovery. Moving on. Now it makes me curious. What else did Proctor text about with Kevin Albert and everyone? So much more than that. I think, in my opinion, the indictments, trials, and aftermath, nothing new until they get to the next section, which is a whole new section. And the new section in the amended complaint is headed up with: the House defendants and investigators continue to lie and manufacture evidence and coordinate and conspire together years later. I do remember also, yes, I absolutely remember Kevin coordinating the interviews because somebody testified that they were contacted by Kevin Albert to come in for an interview. I think it was Katie McLaughlin, right? But I don't think we knew about any text messages between Kevin Albert and Proctor setting that up. I think that was something that Katie McLaughlin was questioned about all the way back in trial number 1, right? So yeah, we've heard it before, but there were no receipts to back it up, as far as I know. All right, here we go. The new section reads: the House defendants and investigators continue to lie and manufacture evidence and coordinate and conspire together years later. The House defendants continued to execute on their strategy of misdirection and dishonesty for years after Mr. O'Keefe's death. For example, on April 10th of 2023, 2 agents from a separate law enforcement agency made an unannounced visit to Jennifer McCabe at her home. She initially lied to those agents when she answered the door, saying she was Nicole Albert. The FBI ice cream truck. She then asked the agents to wait 10 minutes while she got ready. Afterwards, when asked by the agents, McCabe first told them that she had called her husband, House defendant Matthew McCabe and Carrie Roberts. But after the separate law enforcement agents agency agents warned her of the penalties of lying to federal officers. McCabe then revealed that she had also contacted John O'Keefe's mother, the Norfolk DA's office, and Brian Albert. McCabe made sure to warn other House defendants immediately, like Brian Albert and Matthew McCabe, that another agency was asking questions. The coordination between the House defendants and MSP, Proctor, Bukhenik, and Tully was not short-lived. I wonder if they found anything in Proctor's phone, such as potentially any messages from Jennifer McCabe. Hey, the FBI's knocking at my door. What do I do? Or maybe they were in group text messages between Jennifer McCabe, Michael Proctor, Brian Albert, Matt McCabe. Who knows if Michael Proctor was on the recipient of some of those group text messages, if they had their own group. McCabe made sure to warn other House defendants immediately, like Brian Albert and Matthew McCabe, and that another agency was asking questions. The coordination between the House defendants and MSP, Proctor, Bukhenik, and Tully was also not short-lived. For example, in the evening of September 25th, 2023, McCabe visited Proctor's house. This visit by a key witness in a murder case to the home of the lead investigator is not explained or even acknowledged or mentioned in any MSP report. In fact, Reed's criminal defense team only learned of McCabe's visit to Proctor's house when a photo of her Jeep was publicized. Furthermore, in 2024, on the eve of Ms. Reed's first trial, Ms. Reed's team learned that McCabe had visited Canton PD Sergeant Michael Lank, who was the ranking Canton police officer on scene on January 29th, at his personal residence at 5:43 p.m. on January 30th of 2022, and stayed until 6:28 p.m. Crispy Treat, I don't want to fight with you. I don't want to argue with you. She says depositions now take place over video conferencing, allowing authorized participants and observers to watch witnesses view documents and see real-time transcripts. I don't know where you're getting that from, but not in federal court. And it's not like a Zoom call. It's not like, okay, yeah, you say you don't Google things. Don't Google things, okay? That's like going to your doctor, and I love you with all my heart. I really do. It's like going to your doctor and then telling your doctor what your diagnosis is when you come into the doctor's office because you Googled it. The answer to that is no. No, it is not like a Zoom call where whoever wants to jump on and watch a deposition can jump on it. And I love you with all my heart, but I'm deleting that because it's just not true. Moving on. Neither Tully, Proctor, nor any other trooper memorialized this meeting or McCabe's visit to Sergeant Lank's home. Furthermore, Ms. McCabe later testified on May 21st, 2024, that she went straight to Sergeant Lank's house from One Meadows on January 30th. But her cellular data shows that too was false. McCabe's phone shows she stopped at 34 Fairview Road from 5:36 to 5:40 p.m. Right. It's ridiculous. It does strain credulity because Kevin Albert was the very reason for their recusal. Yep. They were recused immediately because Kevin Albert's brother is Brian Albert. They never should have responded even to the scene. And when it was found, when John O'Keefe was pronounced dead shortly before, I think, 8 a.m., they lost all jurisdiction because the MSP takes jurisdiction of any unattended deaths. Oh, speaking of, has anybody started Scarpetta with Nicole Kidman on Amazon Prime? I stayed up way too late last night binging it, but it's so good. I'm not done yet, so don't spoil that for me either, please. Here we go. And even after this case was filed, some of the investigators have continued to coordinate and work with the House defendants. Oh, tell us more. Even after this case was filed, you mean in November of 2025? Oh, what else did you get? Oh, you mean you may have evidence from Proctor's phone that shows that even after this case was filed in November of 2025, that they're still doing it? That some of the investigators, meaning Bukhenik, Proctor, Tully, are still coordinating and working with the Haas defendants? What? Yes, the public, Mary Louise, is allowed to go sit in on federal trial. And typically, I don't know about where this will be, but typically the courtrooms are larger than, than the teeny weeny courtroom that had no public seating in the KARN READ first trial and second trial. But yes, you can go to court for it. So it is in person only, similar to Matthew Farwell's trial will be. Right. M. Parker says, and after all the information on Proctor's phone, we now know that Kerry wasn't the only talker. Seems Proctor's a talker too. Right? Oh, you finished it already? Scarpetta is so good. Finished it today and thought it was so well done. I love Nicole Kidman. And I love that the actor who plays Marino's son is that actor's real life son. I love that. Yep, just read. For those of you who don't know, it's Patricia Cornwell's books are about a medical examiner named Kay Scarpetta, and that's what it's about. Serial killer, the whole thing. I haven't finished it yet, so don't spoil it for me. For example, in the fall of 2025, defendant Bukhenik repeatedly fundraised for the House defendants on social media sites. He urged support for the House defendants against Ms. Reed's, quote, evil, chaos, and lunacy, end quote. Oh, we saw it. He posted it all over Facebook and Twitter, asking everyone to donate to the House defendants legal fund, the donation to the fund by Yuri. Yep. And that's just one example. What other examples do they have? Can't wait to see. But James Lynch says that pitchforks and torches go on sale tomorrow at Home Depot. Thank you. Should I put them on my Amazon list? Motion granted. I read most of her books as well. I Love Dogs, 1970. Good taste. Isn't Tully working with the Haas defendants? Well, I can't wait to see what other proof they have. But it's going to be fire. All right, here we go. Moving on. That whole section was new. The next section, MSP investigates and punishes Proctor, Bukhenik, and Tully for their misconduct during the investigation. Let's see what's new here. Let's see. Down here, talking about Proctor's discipline. One sentence was added after all the discipline about Proctor. Nearly every instance of such discipline in Proctor's unit occurred before this case was even fully adjudicated in the second trial. Proctor himself admitted to a trial board in March of 2025 that he informed his superiors, Bukhenik, Fanning, and Tully, in February of 2024, before the first trial, that he had testified before a berating, in quotes, U.S. attorney regarding the prejudicial messages on his phone and his relationship with the Alberts. Nevertheless, no member in Proctor's chain of command or in the MSP sought to discipline these individuals until after Ms. Reed stood trial. Moving on to the counts. Count 1, malicious prosecution under the Fourth Amendment against Proctor, Bukhenik, and Tully. See if there's anything new here. There is not. Count 2, supervisor liability against Bukhenik and Tully in their individual capacities. Nothing new added to that count. Count 3, conspiracy to deprive Ms. Reed of her Fourth Amendment rights against Proctor, Bukhenik, Tully, the Alberts, the McCabes, and Higgins. In my opinion, that is why many of these paragraphs that we have read were added to this complaint to make them more specific. The allegations, that is. And one paragraph has 2 paragraphs added to this complaint. To this count. Count 3, the conspiracy count. Which is right here. After paragraph 137 in the original complaint, now is new paragraph 171 and 172, which read as follows. As part of their conspiracy to direct law enforcement toward Ms. Reed, at least some of the House defendants provided false testimony at Reed's criminal trials. House defendant Jennifer McCabe also lied to agents of a separate law enforcement agency when they interviewed her in 2023 about Mr. O'Keefe's death and the investigation into it, and along with the other House defendants, took steps in furtherance of their scheme through each of Read's criminal trials in 2024 and 2025. And then that continues on. The proximate result of Ms. Read's wrongful prosecution was her loss of employment, reputational damage. This was all in the original complaint. Also asking for, in addition to an award of damages for these harms, she wants her attorney's fees. Her attorney's fees are in the millions of dollars now. Cost, interest, and punitive damages. Count 4 is Massachusetts Civil Rights Act violations against Proctor, Bukhenik, Tully, Alberts, McCabe's, and Higgins. And there are 2 new paragraphs, which are the same. I believe they're the same 2 paragraphs are the ones we just read. As a part of their attempts to direct law enforcement towards Read, at least some of the House defendants also provided false testimony at Read's criminal trials. House defendant Jennifer McCabe also lied to agents of a separate law enforcement agency when they interviewed her in 2023 about Mr. O'Keefe's death and the investigation into it, and along with other House defendants, took steps in furtherance of their scheme through each of Read's criminal trials in 2024 and 2025. KARN is doing what law enforcement refused to do, says Dwight. Count 5, common law malicious prosecution against Proctor, Bukhenik, Tully, the Alberts, the McCabes, and Higgins. Same 2 paragraphs added about Jennifer McCabe. And taking steps in furtherance of their scheme, false testimony. Next, count 6, intentional infliction of emotional distress. Same 2 paragraphs are added. As part of their attempts to direct law enforcement towards Read, at least some of the House defendants also provided false testimony at Read's criminal trials, and House defendants Jennifer McCabe also lied to agents of the separate law enforcement agency when they interviewed her in 2023 about Mr. O'Keefe's death and the investigation into it, and along with the other House defendants, took steps in furtherance of their scheme through each of Read's criminal trials in 2024 and 2025. It's a continuing conspiracy, my friends, continuing acts. Count 7, civil conspiracy against Proctor, Bukhenik, Tully, the Alberts, McCabes, and Higgins. Why did I highlight that? Oh, just because 166 in the original complaint was just split into 2 paragraphs here, 207 and 208. Same 2 paragraphs entered again under this count that we just read 3 times. And everything else remains the same. So you can see nothing here is earth-shattering that was amended in the complaint. Nothing here should be a shock or surprise to anybody, except things have happened. Things have happened since the first complaint was drafted, the 13-year phone extraction of Proctor. And what else? What else did I forget? They added some things in from Proctor's testimony at the Massachusetts Trial Board, but that wasn't new information. So they're just making it a little bit more specific. Dr. Laposada said, well, the car didn't hit him, so it doesn't matter. So true. So true. Thanks, Bet, for becoming a new member. Welcome. I think you're going to like it here. And also, Christy Galanti became a new member. Welcome, or Christ. Gigi says, it would be very hard to confuse me, Melanie. I was wishing everyone a happy Saturday. 1 foot in the old lady door. Thanks, Gigi, for your 5. Robin says, thanks for all your hard work. Thanks for being with me for 22 months. But wait, we're not done yet. We're going to look at who they've noticed for depositions. Kelly says, I'm off to Singapore tomorrow. I shall miss the lives with the 12-hour time difference, but I'll be back on day 2 of Kelsey. Oh, that's awesome. I mean, it remains to be seen if there's going to be a jury trial or not on Kelsey. If it's a jury trial, they're going to start picking on March 23rd. If it's a bench trial, it may start on the 23rd. So stay tuned because we don't know what's going to happen yet. And have a fun time in Singapore. Lisa says, I couldn't wait to hear you go over this. Why can't they say FBI in this case? I love your channel. You're the best. Oh, thank you so much. Well, it's just in case. We don't know how the federal judge is going to rule on that, right? Whether she's going to agree that the FBI should not be mentioned to a jury. And if the pleadings become evidence somehow and are shown to the jury, they don't want to take the risk of having the jury read about the FBI in the pleadings if this Judge Casper does not allow it. And so I think they're just, safe, better safe than sorry kind of thing. Thank you so much for your 5. Appreciate you so much. James says the Oscar goes to Melanie Little. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'd like to thank the Academy. I'd like to thank all my chat members who are here tonight with me, all 3,930 of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for being here. We're going to also look at some Oscar red carpet fashion in a minute. So thank you, James, for the 10. Strange Credulity gifted a membership. She's often awesome. Cat Randall gifted a membership. He's awesome too. And Cat says, thank you, Attorney Melanie Little. And thank you. And your cat is really cute. And thanks for being with me for 18 months. And Ashton Sugar says, you're prettier than Michelle. Thank you for a Sunday Night Live. Oh, that is very sweet. Thanks for hanging for 6 months with me. And Friend of the Dog is here and gifted 10 memberships. She's awesome too. Amazing. Well, please. All right. Let us take a look at a filing that was actually filed in February, but it seems to have just been published now. But let's take a look at it. Thank you, Friend of Dog, for gifting 10, because it gives us some look into KARN READ's civil team in the Plymouth case, the wrongful death case against KARN. The judge, as you know, Judge Gilday, has wanted them for a long time to start getting on it, right? And start doing the things that are required, the depositions, the discovery. And so they give a list of all the people that they've sent deposition notices to say to the judge, hey, judge, we're on it. We're doing it. We're doing all the things. And so I'm going to give you my thoughts on why these people are listed now and what that could mean. Thank you, Laura, for your Venmo. Something about, she said, not sure if you've seen it, but there was an officer near St. Louis recently sentenced to 2 years in federal prison for searching women's phones for nudes. I did not see that. Thank you very much, Laura. But that's interesting. Ooh, I wonder. Terry, thank you so much for your Venmo. Says, thanks for raising money for Kelsey and for being live now. You're awesome. Thank you so much. Let justice prevail through the heavens, though the heavens may fall. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Terry. Betsy's here. Thank you, Betsy, for your memo. You're amazing. It was your birthday yesterday. Happy birthday to Betsy. Everyone say happy birthday to Betsy. She's amazing. She always is very kind and giving and awesome. You're the best. You're the best. Thanks, Bets. All right, let's check it out. This is Defending KARN READ's notice regarding depositions, and it was filed all the way back in February. I don't know when it hit the docket, but I'm here for it now. So let's take a look. This was filed according to, when I looked it up in mass courts, I think it was filed around mid-February. One sec. It's dated February 11th of 2026. And remember, we're going back now to the wrongful death case of O'Keefe's against KARN and the Waterfall. And so KARN READ has sent out the following notices and or subpoenas to the following witnesses that she wants to depose. I don't know if this is in the order that they intend to take the depositions in, but I find it interesting because she says, pursuant to the court's instructions at the status conference on February 3rd of 2026, defendant KARN READ states that she has, as of today's date, notice depositions of the following individuals and entities in this case beginning in March of 2026. Okay, today's March 15th, 2026. And that means some of these depositions may have already been held. I want the goods. Well done. I want the goods, says Machika. Some of these may already been happened and we don't even know about it because we're not going to know about it unless somebody tells us about it. Number 1 on the list is Sean Good. You know what's so interesting about that? Sean Good was recently suspended from Canton Police Department because of what was found in Proctor's phone. Right? Uh-huh. And so perhaps if this is the order, listen, this is not alphabetical order. This could be the order in which they intend to depose them. Very interesting. One sec, please. Oh, please. I can't wait to hear what Sean Good has to say. Number 2 on the list, or listed here, number 2, Kevin Albert. Number 3, Courtney Proctor. Next, Michael Proctor. And think about it. Kevin Albert, Courtney Proctor, Michael Proctor. It's important to point out that in this civil case in which Karen is the defendant, civil discovery rules are very, very broad. Nothing is objectionable at a deposition. All objections are preserved for the time of trial. So an attorney can object and say objection relevance, but the witness still has to answer it unless they want to take the fifth. Very broad. I'm so happy for Sean Good, says Andrew. In this case, because Karen is a defendant, her insurance company for her car insurance is paying for her defense. And so therefore, they also pay the expenses. And so do all the depositions you want. Right? This way, she's not paying for them. The carrier is. Do them all. Here you go. Sean Good, Kevin Albert, Courtney Proctor, Michael Proctor, Canton Police Department, Colin Albert, Yuri Bukhenik, Brian Tully, Massachusetts State Police, Allie McCabe, Kerry Roberts. Think about the amendments to the complaint that we just read about in federal court and how all of these witnesses play into that case as well. Julie Albert. Oh, it says B. Ron Higgins, but we know it's not B. Ron. It's Brian Higgins. Nicole Albert, Brian Albert, Matthew McCabe, Jennifer McCabe, Paul O'Keefe, John O'Keefe II, and Margaret O'Keefe. Well, Canton PD or Massachusetts State Police, they may just need a records person for that deposition. They may want to talk to somebody about proper police procedure and how things are supposed to be handled and how investigations are supposed to be conducted. That would be interesting. But take a look. This is only the initial count. They're going to do more depositions than this because notably absent from this list is Kaylee, who is the niece, who is a plaintiff, who still has some causes of action remaining against KARN READ. And I pointed out in one of my streams, we took a look at how Kaylee's story has perhaps morphed because we looked at the original witness statements of Kaylee and how a lot of things that she now says Karen said that caused her emotional distress were not in the original. Statements to law enforcement. Good could be the reason they added town of Canton. She intended to add the town of Canton all along, saying that Canton PD was responsible for a lot of this stuff, which would be the town of Canton would be the proper defendant. But although they added Canton, the town of Canton in the federal complaint, there were no allegations against them. And so I think that it was a mistake. I mean, I think it was an error. I think it was like a typo. All right, hold please. Okay. Right. So these are, let's see how many there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think that's 11. There's 20. There's 20 listed here. They said they're going to do at least 40, right? These are just the first, this is the first round. And this is only the people that KARN READ has said she wants to depose. Notably absent, somebody pointed out Chris Albert. Yeah. But this is all the people she wants to depose first. And if this is in order of deposition, that's going to be really interesting, right? Really interesting. Right. Be in Trouble says Canton's probably on there because the 4-something a.m. call that a man was hit by a plow. Right. And the people were warned, don't ever say anything about that ever again. According to Sean McDonough, who and also Peter Murphy talked about that, didn't he, on the Las Vegas Cops YouTube channel, I think. I don't remember if it was Sean McDonough or if it was Peter Murphy at this point. Pineywood says, I would love to see Kelsey's trial. Well, it's going to be on it's going to be live streamed, so we're going to be covering it gavel to gavel. I would just like to see it happen sooner rather than later, but we'll see what happens. Thanks for being with me for 14 months. So you can keep adding people. Yeah, this is just her original. This was just to tell the judge, we've already sent out subpoenas to these people. The depositions are starting in March. Here's our first 20. Brian Albert Jr. is not on this list. Brian Albert is. So let's see. They have all the House defendants: Brian Albert, Nicole Albert, Matthew McCabe, Jennifer McCabe, and Brian Higgins. Those are the House defendants. Who they don't have is Chris Albert. They've got Julie Albert. They're going to do Julie Albert before they do Chris. That's interesting. Right? And I can see why they're doing this, because they're going to use this testimony in the federal case too. And this way, perhaps KARN doesn't have to pay for it. Although the House defendants will be entitled to do these depositions again in the federal case. Okay, you pay for it next time. It's harder to keep your story straight the more times you're deposed, right? What, if anything, says Kaylee is a minor and can't sue anyone. Paul and Peg brought her in because without her, they can't sue for emotional distress because no one else was there except for her. Peggy O'Keefe is apparently suing as the guardian of Kaylee. So there has to be a guardian suing on her behalf. And I don't recall right now off top of my head whether any of the other defendants sued for emotional distress. I don't think they did. I think it was only Kaylee. I do think, though, that's going to be a really hard case to prove. And I've said from the beginning that to drag the children into this, the way that they have been dragged into this, it's not something that I would have done. I wouldn't have forced them to testify in 2 trials. Denise testified twice. The nephew only testified once, but we've talked about this a lot. Nope, Kelly Dever is not listed here yet. These are the first 20. How many lawyers are going to be getting paid? Well, Mark Diller, the plaintiff's attorney for the O'Keefes, only gets paid if they win. So if there's a judgment or a verdict and they actually are able to collect it, that's how he gets paid. He doesn't get paid by the hour. And this case is going to end. He has to pay all the expenses up front. And so that's going to be costing him a lot of money. A lot of money. In this case, the insurance company attorneys are all representing the defendants. And so they get paid by the carrier. Carriers. No, Brian Albert Jr. is not on there. No, neither is Caitlin. Neither is Sarah Levinson. Neither is Julie Nagel. But they're all secondary, right? These are the most important 20. It's just the first round, you guys. Just the first round. How many attorneys are getting paid? Jan Mike says none of them because they're going to lose. Because they're going to lose. We'll see. Do I think that Jennifer McCabe will be questioned by Alan Jackson. I mean, I would think that he's chomping at the bit to do it. Except, right, he has entered a notice of appearance in this case too. So he is on the defense team here. And so I bet he wants it. I bet they're calling him now. They're like, I want to do this one. I want to do that one. I want to do this one. I want to do that one. And as far as we know, Kelly Devers not on there. Nope. As far as we know, many of these, some of them at least, if there's 15 days that have happened already in March, some of these could have already happened and we don't even know about it yet. Phoenix Waller says he took this case on contingency. That was a bad move. That's the way plaintiffs' attorneys work. That's why they make the big bucks, because they take all the risk and they pay all the expenses. And that's why, as a plaintiff's attorney, you don't take cases that you don't think are a slam dunk or that you can win. That you've got a good faith basis to know that you're going to not waste your firm resources and money, lots of it, on a case that's never going to be successful. JW says, guys, please say a prayer for the southeast part of the country tonight. Bad weather and tornadoes are expected. Love you, Matt. Thanks for what you do. I love you too. Here's Tiny Jesus up for you guys. Stay safe. Stay safe out there. Emily C is here. Hi, Em. Says the lawyers should stream their draft to pick people to question as a fundraiser. Well done. Well, I heard they had a fundraiser last night at a ballroom somewhere. The House Defendants. I don't know anything about it, but while we were on the pre-chat at the Mazza stream, somebody mentioned that. So I don't know what that was about, but apparently all of the people who are on the House Defendants YouTube channel maybe met each other in person and met the people that they've been fighting so hard for in person and said that they were really salt of the earth people. And so, I mean, I'm so glad they were able to have a little get together and meet each other. All right, let's move on over and check out some Oscars red carpet moments, because we didn't get to see that because we've been doing this. But I am interested in that. And so let's take a look, shall we? And if you guys are not interested in that, then peace out. I'll see you later. But since I've been sitting here and haven't been watching the Oscars, and I asked you all to please not spoil it for me, let's take a look and check out some of the outfits, huh? All right. Goodbye, Pacer. Bye-bye. I mean, we need to vote for our favorites, best and worst dressed, right? Because nowadays, the red carpet stinks. Ever since Joan Rivers has left E! Channel or wherever she used to do it, Bravo, I'm very upset because it's just not the same without Joan Rivers. Would you agree? Oh, please. Okay, why is it not coming up for me? I mean, it won't even refresh. Hold on. Has anybody watched any of the movies that are nominated for Oscars? Anybody see Sinners? I promised myself that I was going to watch it, and I haven't done it yet, and I'm mad because I really wanted to watch Sinners before tonight's awards, but that's okay. There's still time. There's still time. Okay. Can we just have all the red carpet looks in one feed? New York Post, please. And if you watch Sinners, was it good? I know I'm taping it. All right, hold please. The pop-ups are unbearable. Let's see, red carpet live updates. From the New York Post. Joan was the best, wasn't she? Joan Rivers is the red carpet. I agree, sweet one. Joan Rivers was the best. And it's hard to watch without her there. And I mean, when I watched whatever the last award show was, I think it was the SAG Awards. The people on the red carpet were kind of dopey. Like the questions they were asking were just so ridiculous. It was like they weren't even asking questions about the actors that they were questioning. They were asking questions about other people and cast with them. And it was kind of like, it's their time to talk about themselves. Could you let them talk about themselves for a minute? So weird. All right. Let's see. All right. We're going to start here with Mikey Madison. The Upper Peninsula. Thank you again, sweet woman, for your 10. Peninsula of Michigan is getting slammed right now. The bridge is closed. Oh my goodness. Everyone stays safe. Good Citizen says, positive vibes, please. I will be at Norfolk Probate Court in the morning. Oh, hey, prayers up. Prayers up for you, Good Citizen of Weymouth. Everyone, prayer hands up for Good Citizen Weymouth at the Norfolk Probate. I mean, family court side or the probate court side? I'll put. Whichever side you find yourself in, the family court or the probate court, I wish you all the luck in the world and all the good vibes. Priscilla wants to know if all the attorneys get to ask deposition questions. Yes, they do. Everybody who shows up there gets to ask questions. Absolutely, they do. Thanks, Priscilla. You do. So, all right. First up, we have Mikey Madison. That's an interesting. It looks like red velvet to me. This look here. Let's give it a full screen. But hold on, please, for 1 second. Come down. To put it up a different way so we could see it better. Mikey Madison looking like what looks like a burgundy velvet off the shoulders gown. I like it. I like it. Wearing Dior. Can we see this without the ads? Okay, that's a little bit better. Not the greatest. She's young, isn't she? I like it. Pretty. Will Arnett. Will Arnett, everyone. And Ralph Lauren Purple Label. Nick Jonas. Nick Jonas in a tuxedo that's very traditional with a bow tie. It looks like maybe a 3-piece. Ralph Lauren Purple Label. Sigourney Weaver. You may recognize Sigourney Weaver from such things as Alien all the way back in the day. Sigourney Weaver in Valentino. I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know. I'm going to have to put a pin in that and think about it. Gold beaded dress with looks like green, very high neck, almost like a mock neck, and green beaded cuffs. Not really a fan. Ray Ami. Ray Ami. This is interesting. Look. Wearing Rahul Mishra. I'm not sure who she is. But this cape or jacket for me is a lot. It's a lot for me. And the dress is very, 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 very short. But she's very young. She could pull it off. All right. Next, Chase Stokes. It's funny because I don't know any of these names. Chase Stokes wearing Dunhill. Burgundy velvet blazer. White button-down shirt, no tie. Black pants, tuxedo shoes. It looks very, very nice. Very nice. Amanda, Anka, and Jason Bateman. I love Jason Bateman, all right? I love Jason Bateman. And this is his wife, Amanda, and they've been together for a long time. And they're a lovely couple. I think they look lovely. She's wearing what looks like a black bodysuit underneath a black beaded gown, and you can really see all the way up her legs. Important to note also that a lot of these dresses photograph differently than when you try them on, wherever you're trying them on. And when the flash goes off, all of a sudden, you can see her legs. But they're a very nice looking couple. Maybe Jason Bateman could have had a little trim. He may be filming something that did not allow him to cut his hair, but he looks very shaggy, and he's got quite more than a 5 o'clock shadow. But all right, moving on. Wow me, someone wow me. This is Gabriel Leone. I'm not sure who he is either, but he's wearing Louis Vuitton. Very classic tuxedo, nothing out of the pale. Ryan Coogler wearing white tie, black tux, Very nice watch. Looks very nice. Louis Vuitton. Also dressing a lot of men on the carpet this year. Seen a lot of Ralph Lauren Purple Label and a lot of Louis Vuitton. Alana Haim. Again, I don't know who any of these people are. Could I see some of the celebrities, please? This is the black. It's not exactly sequins. What would you call this? I think this is fire. She's cut out on the side. I would like to see the back of this dress. Very interesting. Another Louis Vuitton look. Amy Madigan, she's been nominated for everything this year for whatever project it is that she was in, and she's also been winning it. And she's got a very eclectic sense of fashion. I don't know what the hell this is, but it is a Dior, and it's kind of a mess. I don't know how else to say it. I don't know what's happening here. But she's eclectic. You should have seen some of the other outfits she wore to some of the other awards shows. Leo DiCaprio, always a treat. Wearing a classic Dior tuxedo, black tie. Somebody should have straightened his tie out before they took his picture. But I was watching some clips the other night from Titanic because, Rose Jack. Who doesn't like Titanic? Look at how Leo DiCaprio has aged like a fine wine. I'm not a big fan of this porn star mustache. But Leo DiCaprio, I feel like we watched him grow up. Right? Very classic. I'm sure it's a very expensive watch. I'm not sure if he's wearing a pin or if that's a puff. I'm not sure. Dior coming in hot on the red carpet. Michael B. Jordan. He's nominated for Sinners, right? For playing the twins. And this is an interesting look. Louis Vuitton is dressing every man, aside from Ralph Lauren. Like I guess I would call that is that what you call like a Nehru jacket? It's not quite a tuxedo. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buttons down the front with like a mandarin collar. Also rocking the facial hair. I hope he wins. I don't know. And then he's got some chains here, but it almost kind of looks like, it reminds me of the chains on his pocket. Kind of remind me of like a guy who's got like his wallet chained inside his pocket. I don't know. I don't know if I'm really a fan of this look. It looks like a doorman. Yeah. It looks kind of like a doorman outfit, right? Michael B. Jordan should get 2 Oscars for playing twins. Did you see the movie, Laura? I haven't seen it yet, but I promised myself I would. All right. Priyanka Chopra, who was married to, of course, I think Nick Jonas or one of the Jonas brothers. All right. Here she is wearing white Dior, feathers and all, slit all the way up the leg. The jewels, she must have somebody following her around with those jewels because they do. If anybody saw Ocean's 8, I was in that movie. By the way, you'll blink and you'll miss me. But I was in the fashion show scene where Cate Blanchett and Helena Bonham Carter Helena Bonham Carter's not in that scene. Sandra Bullock was in that scene and Cate Blanchett were in that scene. And that was really fun. But that's when they stole the jewels, right? From the Met Gala. But look, and they always have security people following them around for these jewels. And so I can only imagine. How do we feel about this? It's more Dior. It's white. Yeah, the black shoes are not doing it for me. I don't know. Black shoes with the white dress with the, I don't know, looks like ostrich feathers. Somebody said I'd wear that as a wedding dress. Yeah. Not really a fan. All right. Ava DuVernay, gigantic sleeves. Looks regal. Yeah, the polka dot feathers. It's the polka dot feathers from me, said Amy. I don't know if this is too much. Wearing Louis Vuitton. Does Louis Vuitton own the red carpet this year? Maybe. I mean, everything's on point, though. Her hair's on point. Her jewels are on point. Her purse is on point. Her nails are on point. I feel like these sleeves are a little much for me, but let me know how you feel. Yeah, I feel bad for whoever has to sit next to her. It's classic. It's Louis Vuitton. I can't even tell if it's navy or black. Joan Crawford. Yeah, it's off the shoulder, but it looks like a gigantic bow. Paul Mescal. I don't know. He looks like Oliver. He looks like what Oliver would be wearing in a pauper scene. I don't know what's happening here. I don't really know. Please, may I have some more? This is Saline. Wearing Saline. No, just no. Just no. Nope, that's not for me. Moving on. I don't know who these two people are. Oh, Usher and I guess his wife or girlfriend. Oh, I don't know about this. Usher looks nice. I don't know about this dress on his +1, Jennifer. I don't know. Not really a fan. Anyone? It doesn't say who she's wearing, but I do think Usher looks nice. White jacket, black dress, prom dress from the 80s. Yes, prom dress from the 80s, says Sham Pickle. Yeah, it's like a mermaid cut, and then it explodes at the bottom. I don't know if it's not flattering for her. No thanks. No to the dress. No, Jennifer. Nope. We're going to see anything that we like. I feel like we're a tough crowd. Chris Evans showing up in sunglasses and a very classic tuxedo, black tie. Wearing Armani, of course. All right. Can I see somebody who I know? All right. Let me just flip through here a little bit because I really want to go kind of watch it. All right. Molly Sims. Oh, this is like a buttercup yellow. Monique Lullier, who I ordinarily would love, but this is again, this is giving me 80s prom dress. I don't know, or bridesmaid. It's not for me. Oh, just add it, yo. Just eat it. How about you just eat it? Hold on. Let's see if this is your first time here. Oh, it's your first time here, but you know what? I'm so proud of you for waiting 48 hours to come in here and be a dick. That was you have such good. I mean, the tenacity and the patience that you have to come in here and make a stupid comment like that. Bravo to you, sir or ma'am. Most trolls are 50 to 60-year-old men and women on the internet who hide behind fake names. And it's just wild. Okay, moving on. Regina Hall wearing Yara Shoemaker Couture. Well, maybe Yara should stick to shoes because this isn't it for me either. What say you? Benicio del Toro in a black tuxedo with a black shirt underneath it. Not a fan. Could I see like Gwyneth Paltrow? All right, here's Channing Tatum and Versace. A lot of men. Where are the women? Oh no. What is this? Oh no. This is giving Grover from Sesame Street. I don't know who this is. Jamie Lawson in I don't even know what to say about that. Low, wearing low. Is it me or is it Snuffleupagus? I don't know what that is. I don't know. All right, where are the famous people? Oh, here's Fran Drescher. Fran Drescher in Amy Paris. I mean, she's there for Marty's. What the hell was the name of that movie that I wasted 2.5 hours of my life watching? Marty Supreme. Right? She had a tiny cameo in that. She looks nice. It's like a turtleneck type dress. It looks like all sequins. I don't know if it's green, if it's forest green. I've seen worse, but not my favorite. I don't know what to make of this. Autumn Arkapaw wearing Tom Brown. This is like Schoolgirl meets Matilda meets Madame Trunchbull. I don't know what's happening here. I don't know. No, it's a no for me. Ethan Hawke always, wearing something a little. This is giving Abe Lincoln. Again, could anybody get a trim before the Oscars? I don't know. Prada. It's Prada. It gives Abe Lincoln. All right, Anne Hathaway, finally, someone I recognize. Anne Hathaway in Valentino Haute Couture. Strapless, black, floral, with very long Black gloves. I like the gloves. What do we think about Anne Hathaway? Hair and makeup and jewels on point. I'm a fan of the gloves. I don't know if the dress is a little too busy for her. Oh, it has a belt? Somebody said I don't like the belt. Hold on. Oh, yeah, it's got a giant, well, kind of like a Devil Wears Prada type belt, right? All right, well, we'll have to see if anybody we like better. But so far, she's the winner. Here's Gwyneth Paltrow in Giorgio Armani Privé. Okay, this is what iconic Hollywood should look like. She too was in Marty Supreme, a movie that I did not like, but Gwyneth Paltrow looks lovely. She looks classic. Listen, if you buy classic, you can keep stuff in your closet forever. What do you guys think? I think she looks gorgeous. Hair down, big fan of the jewelry. I don't not like her character in that movie at all. But I think, yeah, it's giving prom dress a little bit too plain, but it's classic. To me, that's classic. We've seen a lot of so far. Maya Rudolph coming in. Oh no, Chanel. It's Chanel, but it's a no for me. What is going on? It is a tiered black, feathered, bare-armed, weird boat neck. Her hair is very severe. It looks like she's wearing it in a bun. And I like Maya Rudolph a lot. But this is giving matronly. It's in layers or tiers. Nightgown, giving mother of the bride. Yeah, it's unflattering. And she's a beautiful girl. Okay. I don't like. Oh, here's Timothy Chalamet wearing Givenchy or Givenchy, all white with sneakers, of course, because he practiced ping pong for 7 years for that movie. And I wonder if he showed up with Kylie Jenner. Is it Kylie Jenner? It's all white. He's wearing all white, including what look like sneakers. Not a fan. It's a Givenchy. And I just hope he doesn't win. Okay, Jacob Elordi I will allow in any red carpet. And there he is. He's in Bottega Veneta, and he's looking good. I think this is my favorite so far. He's got a 3-piece tuxedo on, very classic. He too needs a haircut, but I mean, I'm going to allow it. He's in 2 movies, right? He's in like Frankenstein and Wuthering Heights. Both of them are out right now. Yeah, I don't know what's happening with these shoes here or whether these pants are too long or if there's a cuff on one of them. I don't know what's going on there either. He reminds me of a 1970s Burt Reynolds, says someone. Oh, thanks for loving my coverage. We don't just do the law here. We do other stuff too. Thanks, Laura Davidson. Kylie is there in red. Okay, good. Maybe we'll get to her. Kirsten Dunst. Very similar to what Maya Rudolph is wearing with regard to the tiers, etc. This is also Celine. And this is she's married to Jesse Plemons, right? And I just no. I just know. I don't like it. Again, with the severe hair, very similar to Maya Rudolph. Do they have the same stylist? No, I don't like it. No. Adrian Brody, I'm not a fan, and this is weird. I don't know what's going on the shoulder there. We talked about him the other day because he has since picked up with Harvey Weinstein's ex-wife, Georgina Chapman. Is he wearing Marchesa? Let's see. Nope, he's wearing Gucci. Not a fan of Adrian Brody. I don't know why. Who is this? Pedro Pascal? What? Pedro Pascal is giving grandpa vibes. I thought he was supposed to be like a hot guy that everybody liked. Okay, or that everyone was, he's like the new Zaddy or something. What is this? No jacket. Black pants with a cummerbund. I don't know what is going on here. It's like a giant snowflake on his left breast and a tuxedo shirt with no jacket. What is happening here? He looks so old. I hope he's well. I hope he's okay. All right. Where is your jacket, sir? He was in that show that I like that's on HBO. What is that? We're at the freaking Oscars, right? What is, I don't know. Is he waiting tables? He looks like he's parking cars at the country club. Is he wearing a mask? I don't know what's happening here, but he was in that show with Bella Ramsey that I liked on HBO. I thought it was pretty good. What's the name of that show? Somebody tell me. The End of Us? I don't know. The Last of Us. The Last of Us, right? That's the show that he was in, right? With Bella Ramsey. I like that show, but I didn't watch season 2. I like season 1. All right, Rita Wilson. She's married to Tom Hanks. She's always classy. And she's wearing Jenny Packham. Again, it's giving mother of the bride to me, but her hair is on point and her makeup is on and her jewelry is on point. I'm just not a fan of this dress. Gracie Abrams. She's a singer, right? Because I know my kids like her. And she's wearing Chanel and she's young and it's age appropriate. And I think she's adorable. She's adorable. She must be nominated for a song. That's what I'm gathering. And it's like a sort of like a cropped camisole, but it's, of course, Chanel. So it's sparkly. And she's got some sort of a scarf around her neck. And I think she looks, I like it. I think she looks age appropriate. I think she's very young. Somebody Google how old Gracie Abrams is. And she's showing her belly button. And then she's got a long skirt with a train of some sort. And I think for her age and because she's a musician, I'm going to allow it. Feel free to disagree. Mia Goth is up next and she is wearing Dior, white Dior. A lot of ruffles this year. A lot of ruffles, a lot of lace. What is with the prom? Is our prom dress looks back from the 80s? Because that's what this is also. She's a beautiful girl. What are we doing here? I don't know. And she's got like her legs, and it's not, I mean, no, I don't. Do you like this? It's another wedding dress. No, Google's helpful when you need things like how old is someone or how tall is someone, which are often the questions that I'm asking my robot in the corner there. But with regard to court rules, crispy treat, I wouldn't allow it so much. So, but how old is she? She's 26. Okay. Saying she's 26. I will allow you to Google all things non-material. How to deal, crispy treat? Because I see you're very active in the chat and I love that about you. I just can't spread misinformation. Now it's going to come out that Gracie Abrams is 12. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I don't like this. It's giving, she's in Frankenstein, right? It's giving prom dress or wedding dress. All right. Miyako Belize in Dior by Jean Galliano. Red and black chevron striped. It's a no for me. It's a no for me. Chloe Zhao. I'm sorry. Bride of Frank. What? All right. It comes to your screen. If you are not at your screen, please come to your screen and tell me what is going on here. She's wearing Gabriella Hearst. This is Chloe Zhao. And she's, it's Bride of Frankenstein. She's wearing a black veil in front of her face. It's got very goth black sleeves. I don't know if this is like pleather, leather, ruffly. And it's frightening, quite honestly. She scares me in this outfit. It looks like she's coming to life in a cemetery and she's there to scare us. Bride of Frankenstein-ish, right? Kate Hudson is here. Kate Hudson, everybody. And she's wearing Giorgio Armani Privé. And Song Sung Blue is the movie she's nominated for. I haven't seen it yet, but you guys said it was great. And I love Kate Hudson. And so to me, this is very old Hollywood. It's my favorite color, kind of, which is Tiffany blue. And it's sparkly and it's very structured. And her hair is down and it's all on the side. She has it over to one shoulder. It's down and it's curly. I'm going to allow it. I love it. She's beautiful. She's classy. And I do love Kate Hudson very much. I think her hair and makeup is on point. I think her jewelry is on point. I love the color of this dress. It's giving kind of mermaid vibes with the way the beading is, but I think she looks fantastic. She looks fantastic. It's very old vintage Hollywood, which I love. Teyana Taylor is here, and she wore something crazy to the SAG Awards because I had that pulled up as one of my worst dressed, I believe. I don't remember now. I did a whole presentation on the SAG Awards fashion, and we never looked at it. This is Teyana Taylor. She's got, I mean, let's just face the girl. I mean, she's like in shape like nobody's business. She's wearing Chanel. Black and white, kind of like a mesh around the midriff. I don't know if it's feathers, jewels. I mean, she's got, those are jewels that must be worth a lot of money, but her hair and makeup is on point. I'm not so crazy about the dress. It's got a long train. It's giving like dog fur to me. Kind of like a dog, kind of like a border collie in dress form. On the bottom and like the top is kind of like Dancing with the Stars met ice dancing couples from the Olympics. That's what it looks like to me. I mean, she could wear anything. You could put her in a plastic bag and she would look good, but it's border collie for me. Okay. Nicole Kidman. You know how I love Nicole Kidman. And I love everything about this. I love everything about this. Chanel. She's in Chanel. I mean, if you're going to go to the Oscars and you're going to be, I don't think she's nominated though, right? She's probably presenting, but you wear Chanel. That's just what you do. I think she looks stunning. And, you know, with her coloring, it's hard to get the right color dress because of the often red tinted hair. So you got to be careful what you wear. She's also very fair skinned. And so I think this is a perfect color. Kind of like a blush on the bottom, I would say. And the top looks like silver sequins over an ivy strapless bodice. Look, she's been working out. Look at her arms. OMG. She looks amazing. She's, how old is she? Crispy treat. I will allow it. I think she's like 59. I mean, I think, because I think I looked it up the other day. Yeah, why is she not aging? What's happening? What is she doing? I'll tell you what she's doing. Swimming in the fountain of youth. That, and she's giving a big FU to Keith Urban, and I will allow it. I will allow it. Did she just turn 60, 62? I don't know. Crispy Treat's job is Googling, so hold please. Age is just a number. I don't know. I feel like she's been working out. 58 and a half, says a little cupcake. 58 and a half. I think she looks great. I think her hair, and look, no necklace there. No necklace at all. Thank you, T, for looking it up as well. And I like it. I mean, we've seen some bad stuff so far. So I have to put some in the like column. Okay, here we go. This is Emma Stone. I think Emma Stone is adorable all the time. She shaved her head for that movie that she's nominated for, Bugonia. Did anybody see it? And this is Louis Vuitton. This is Louis Vuitton, and she looks stunning. This is classic old Hollywood. Again, with the red hair, she's got to be careful about what she wears. This is I would say this is white. And I love it. I think she looks great. Props to her for not caving in and getting implants. Same with, Kate Hudson and Gwyneth Paltrow never caved into the implants thing in Hollywood. And I think she looks good. Again, no necklace. It's a no necklace look, but she looks youthful and she's cute. I'll allow it. Feel free to weigh in with your comments. Kathy Bates is here. She's wearing Vera Wang. I'm not sure how old she is. This is like a blue silver, and I'm going to allow this for Kathy Bates. I think she looks great. Her hair, her makeup, her jewelry. She looks great. The fabric looks cheap. It's also wrinkled. I think you got to wear it around a little bit. Sit down, get up, sit up, down, get up, because she's already wrinkled and she's on the carpet. She didn't even go inside yet. She's a legend, but I'm not going to body shame her. Please don't do that. We don't do that here. Okay. I don't know who this is, so I don't really care. Damson Idris, again, giving Hamilton. He's giving Hamilton with this outfit. What's happening here? It's like a blue satin, long waistcoat, knee-high boots. It's like we're doing a Civil War reenactment. I don't like it. Marty Supreme sucked so bad. I want my time back. I said the same thing when I saw it. I said the same thing. I'm like, he practiced for 7 years to learn how to play ping pong. What? And I thought Gwyneth Paltrow's role in that was so stupid. It was so unrealistic. Odessa Design was the best part about that movie. And hopefully we're going to see her outfit. Mario Lopez. I mean, he's on every red carpet. Okay, here's Elle Fanning. Elle Fanning is wearing white Givenchy. It's a very, very, it's ball gown. It's ball gown. And she looks old Hollywood too. But again, I really don't like so much white on the red carpet. This looks kind of like, this is giving pageant dress to me. Right? It's like prom dress, pageant dress. You guys love it. She's younger too. She can do it. She's adorable. Again, with the severe middle part and pull tight hair with a bun. Wedding gown. A lot of wedding gowns, right? Kristen Wiig. Oh my God. When did Kristen Wiig turn into Jennifer Aniston? Somebody said that the other day, and I'm like, that is so true. All right. Kristen Wiig is having the glow up of the moment right now. Am I right? Am I right? This is Elisab Couture, and it's giving peacock to me. But everything else about Kristen Wiig right now is on point. I mean, her hair and her makeup. I don't know what's happening with that necklace. It's kind of, I don't know. I don't know what that is. But I don't know if I like the dress either. But I just wanted to point out that I do think that she has had quite the glow up And congratulations to her. She's aging in reverse. Let me see if I can get to some more people that I know who they are. Okay, here's Demi Moore. Demi Moore has also, okay, here's how I feel about Demi Moore. She has had a glow up. When she did that movie, the movie that the name I can't remember right now. Tell me the movie where she transforms into the younger person for 24 hours and then she goes back to the older woman. What the hell was it called? I'm having like absolute Alzheimer's disease, maybe. But it's giving Peacock. Nobody's telling me the name of that movie. It's giving Peacock. And I think lately her age or her plastic surgery, something, The Substance. Thank you. I love that movie, The Substance. And after seeing that movie and after seeing her in that movie, I'm like, I want to know the name of her plastic surgeon. That's what I want to know. And now I feel like maybe she had something else done because she looks less natural than she did before. And I don't know what it is. I don't know why she feels like she has to do it. But I did see A Few Good Men the other day, again, because whenever it's on, I will watch it. And she was so beautiful then, still so beautiful now, but this Gucci dress is a no for me. It's a peacock. She's got to be sneezing all night. It's her cheeks, right? Her cheeks are different. She is gorgeous. I know. I agree. But her cheeks changed, right? You guys love it? All right. Zoe Saldana. Zoe Saldana looks like she's wearing a nightgown. This looks like a negligee that my mother had in like the 80s. And that's what it is giving to me. What about you guys? It's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. It's Saint Laurent. I don't care. I was looking for, all right. Oh, Jennifer Goodwin. Ugh, this is a mess. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about her. She's very quirky. Look at her hair, and it's a no for me. This dress is a no for me. I can see her legs right through it. It looks cheap. It's, I don't know, Mons, M-O-N-S-E. I don't like it. No, it's a no for me. Jessie Buckley. Okay, I just watched based on one of your recommendations. I just watched the movie Women Talking, because when we were covering the Ruth Miller show, the Ruth Miller bench trial, in which the Mormon woman gave her son to God. He was 4. She drowned him and she gave him to God and said that her husband was swallowed by a fish. Somebody said in the chat, you can't understand the dynamics of what goes on in this culture until you watch the movie Women Talking. And so I watched it. Jessie Buckley was in it. She deserves every award. I don't think that's what she's nominated for here, though. It was a good movie. It took me 3 sittings to get through it because it's a lot of talking. But I recommend it. And it's all women. There's only one man in the cast. And it's all famous women. And she's in it. But it's about an Amish or some sort of, I don't know if it's Amish or if it's another Amish type culture, and all the women talking about leaving the community. It was so intense. I know it. I couldn't get through it in one sitting, but Jessie Buckley was in it. So that's what brought me to that. But this is red on the top and pink on the bottom. I would never think that those two colors would ever go together. And I'm not going to change my opinion on that now. She's a beautiful girl. Again, with the severe, at least it's not a middle part with the hair pulled back. And it's a no for me. I don't care if it's Chanel. It's pink and red. I don't know. Right? I'm not critical of all these women. I have said that they're all beautiful. Just because I don't like their outfits. Why is that critical? I'm not sure if it's because I've been catching up as replay crew, but wow, Mel, you're so critical of all these women. The men comments are quick pass because I'm talking about the outfits. That's why I'm talking about the outfits. Have I personally disparaged any woman? Boop. Hold, please. I'm not that interested in men's fashion. Sorry, not sorry. And I'd like to get off and go do something else. But thanks for your comment. Joe Alwyn, didn't he date Taylor Swift for a while? That tie also a no for me. And let's just get to some more people that we know who they are. Oh, here it is. Odessa Zion. She was in Odessa Zion. Did any of you watch when I suggested it? Hold please for 1 second. She's in the Marty Supreme movie. She's very quirky. She's very young. This is Valentino Haute Couture, and this is a big no for me. I don't know what it is. She wore a pantsuit that was also very quirky to the SAG Awards, and you love it? All right, you can love it. 90s grunge. She was in the movie Fresh Kills. Remember, I asked you guys all to watch Fresh Kills, and we were going to do a viewing party. Well, we can't do a viewing party because we can't watch it. But she was in Fresh Kills, which was directed and written and produced and financed by my friend Jennifer Esposito, who you also may remember from some other television shows. And she was in Fresh Kills, and she was so good. And I remember watching that movie, and a lot of you did watch it because you can get it on Amazon Prime and all the streaming shows, all the streaming channels. She was so good. I remember thinking, this girl's going to be a star. And here she is in Marty Supreme. And she can do it. I don't know if this is like moon and stars, and it's very celestial. She's one of a kind. She stole Zoe Saldana's gown. We can on Twitch. I don't even know what Twitch is or how to use it. Here's Kieran Culkin, who I love ordinarily, but this is very funny. If anybody watches The Studio, do you watch The Studio? When Seth Rogen showed up to the doctor's gala wearing a rust-colored blazer, that's what it reminds me of. Odessa Ray. I'm not sure what's happening here, but this is giving, again, either bridal gown or prom gown. Not really. Oh, this is a beautiful dress. Okay, I love this. Maggie Kang wearing Marmar Halem. This is a beautiful red dress, if you ask me. Oh, you can't have parties on Twitch anymore? That's good, because I don't even know what Twitch is or how to get there. I wouldn't know how to get there. You think it's Mother of the Bridey too? All right, well, who's your favorite so far? I don't know if this is Audrey Nuna. I mean, no, it's very big. It's very busy. It's giving Met Ball. You like that? Or you like the red? And so I'm not sure who any of these other people are. We can debrief on this tomorrow. Oh, here's Heidi Klum wearing chrome hearts. Heidi Klum is always very regal. I don't know how I feel about this dress. It reminds me of like an Oscar statuette. So I guess it's on brand. Or an ice skating dress. Somebody said ice skating top. No. Oh, McKenna Grace. Well, I mean, again, prom dress, pink satin. She too is very young. Oh, Rose Byrne is my favorite. And she's wearing Vera Wang. Oh, here's Rose Byrne. You said Rose Byrne was your favorite? Okay. This is reminiscent of also what Kate Hudson was wearing, right? Was it Kate Hudson? Wait, who was it that had the floral dress on that we looked at in the beginning? Here's Rose Byrne. Everyone thinks she should win, but won't win. Have you watched her movie? This is Dior. It is floral. It is black, strapless. Again, with the middle part. And she probably has a bun. Maybe they'll have the same stylist. I don't know. I'm going to look into that a little bit more. Anne Hathaway. Yes, it was Anne. This is like Anne Hathaway's and she have the same stylist, maybe? Have you anybody watched her movie? And did you like it? I heard it was great. Oh, thank you, Gigi, for sending me a 50 on Cash App. You're amazing. She said, thanks for reminding me today is Sunday. It's my pleasure. I'm here to help. You prefer this one to Anne's? All right, let's see if there's anybody else that we missed here. Felicity Jones, no, that looks like a prom dress. That's Prada. I don't know. I'm not really a fan. I can't really say that anything is my slam dunk favorite, except for right now. I think we're getting into the lesser known people. Kate Hudson, I think is going to win. I think Kate Hudson is my winner. Bella Brat says, thank you for your $100. You don't have to pay me $100 to tell me that you're setting the record straight. You're here all the time. I love Melon. I love this channel. It's totally okay to agree and disagree about outfits. Thanks for Funday, Melon Mods. You're amazing. You don't have to do that. I was just saying, I don't think that I disparage anyone personally by saying they're not attractive. I said, I think that Demi Moore is beautiful. And I think she looks different lately because maybe she had a procedure done. One procedure too many is all. But aside from that, Everyone else is gorgeous. And thank you very much for your very generous super chat. You didn't have to do that. I love it with all my heart. Thank you for your interesting email. I will take a look at that later, but I'm going to sign off tonight. Thank you so much for joining me to talk about some of the red carpet fashion. Make sure you have your notifications set, because tomorrow there's supposed to be an 11:30 conference on Kelsey Fitzsimmons. If it is happening, I will be covering that live. So maybe come back in the morning and just check for yourselves, because I'm not going to put it up tonight. It's not going to happen tomorrow, but I'm giving you the heads up on it so that you know ahead of time. Laura said, Sinners was excellent. I saw it twice. I love it. Oh, good. I will too then. Amy says, I feel old. Thanks for being here. Charissa gifted 5 memberships because she's amazing. Thank you so much. And Charissa is also apologizing for being fashionably late. Oh, I love you with all my heart too. Thanks everybody for coming to hang out with me on a Sunday. It's Melanie After Dark, so you never know what's going to happen. Again, Bella Brad, you're awesome in every way. Every single one of you is awesome for taking an interest in all the things I cover, for coming here, for telling your friends, and for being respectful to each other in the chat. Thank you to the moderators who kept it classy here tonight. And sometimes it's not. We only had one known troll. I'm going to have to go back through the chat and see if there was any others and what had happened. But stay cool, stay kind, stay classy. I will see you in the morning. I love you with all my heart, and I will see you soon. Tell me tomorrow. Go watch the Oscars and tell me who you thought was the best dressed. There are probably some people we didn't even get to yet. All right, you guys, I love you so much. Bye-bye.